We are live. Welcome to Hardly Initiated. It is your host, Tyshawn Jackson, rocking here with another episode with my co-host, Ryan Catches.
I'll be real with y'all. We making miracles happen because I'm not.
Hold on, Lano. Come on. We are live. Welcome to Hardly Initiated. It is your host, Tyshawn Jackson, rocking here with my co-host, Ryan Catches.
That energy is crazy, man. Listen, not many people can get this many kings in the room at once.
Yes.
So I think we got something very, very special happening for y'all tonight.
As a matter of fact, I know we got something very special
I love it
for y'all tonight because y'all don't understand what we going over. For the people who tuning in, the ladies, the gentlemen, listen, we are going to be discussing tonight how these husbands, or really how any man, great man, should handle conflict, arguments, disagreements, combativeness with your lady. So fellas, you know you struggling with this. Matter of fact, lady, you need to stay on here because we about to teach him how to handle you. Okay. But what we're going to do here is we're going to start with the table. We're going to talk about the fellas who are so qualified to be in this conversation. Let me start with my brother here to my right. We have found and brought to you King J. This is Jay Morrison. Y'all already know this brother, man. King J, the owner of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, husband, father, husband for how many years now, man?
July 21st made 5 years. I'm 5 years in like 3 days.
Okay.
5 years.
I need y'all going live in the chat right now because that's just the first king.
Yes.
And Jay ready. Trust me, he's ready tonight. Yo, let's go ahead and drop them fire emojis right now. We need those.
Listen, it's like from
Happy
my
to be here,
conversation. Listen, by the way, if y'all don't know and if y'all have not seen it, make sure y'all tap in to the previous episode we did with King J. That episode lets you know why he's on here today because, brother, it's only, listen, y'all might be like, 5 years, but let me tell you, it's been a lot that went down and has learned that this brother has learned in those 5 years.
5 years.
So we're going to get into it today. And let's go to the left over here, man. We rocking here with a returner, a frequent flyer of the Hardly Initiated family, King Crump, Coach Crump, father, husband, men's coach, all of the above. Welcome to Hardly Initiated, my guy.
Appreciate it, man. Looking forward to it. Let's get it.
Yeah, let the people know how many years you've been in the game.
17 years, man. 22 years together.
Hey, listen, Crump, after last show, Crump, I don't know what you put on because you came most requested real quick.
Very. That was a powerful episode that we had on one of our previous lives. We had, we're going, and because of that, we actually doing this regularly. We bringing just the men on, just the brothers. It's not a lady even in the room right now. Everybody had to leave their wives at home out because we are going to keep it thoroughly real tonight. The men are going to tell you their truth. And look, this brother here, I recently met this brother over the past 2 weeks now only. And I have been so impressed with this brother that I don't think we've ever shot an episode twice with a brother within 2 weeks.
Yeah, this is the quickest we ever had. Matter of fact, we haven't even released the first episode.
We ain't released it yet. It's coming.
Yeah, so we're going crazy with Dr.
I didn't see it.
It's coming, man. This brother here is a doctor, PhD, clinical, Christian psychologist, bringing you guys expert game and also a father and a husband himself. How long have you been in that husband role, brother?
11 years, man.
11 years.
11 years.
All right.
Psychology, 23 years, 3 kids. And brothers need to know how to do relationships.
Yeah.
It's a myth that we don't want to succeed in relationships. People just don't show us how.
Mm.
So I'm going to be picking up tips too, because, experience
Yes.
is the best teacher.
Mm.
We got a vet in the game.
We got a big bet in the game. Actually, we got a few here at the table. So we're going to get to the game. But the first thing I want to do is let y'all know what's going on. Ryan, talk to the people.
Yo, so guys, we're really going crazy because just last night we hit 100,000 subs on YouTube.
Hey, I
So this is crazy. Yeah, this is lit. This is lit. So we getting our platform.
The
Now,
plaque
this
is on the
thing,
way.
Right.
We also at 120 members. Remember, our next goal is 250. Tyshawn and I are already cooking up something very special for that first 100. So thanks so much for supporting the channel. Now, this is the thing. We always set goals. So tonight, again, a minimum 15 members we looking to add to the membership, guys. And I want to share this with y'all. So a couple things. Y'all see the production is improving. You see the graphics popping up on your screen. We're doing all kind of crazy stuff. Now, what we're going to start doing, so I want to just let you know up front, we're getting ready to start doing members only chat right during the live, and we're getting ready to start doing subscribers only chat. So please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you go subscribe now, because we're putting rules on that, because the chat is getting so crazy. My members, they're like, yo, we want to get access.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure we do something very special for the members. And the last thing, guys, we got our 3-day challenge coming up. This is July 26th through the 28th. This is Unfaithful to Unstuck. All right. So we're teaching you how to recover from toxic past trauma, divorce, all of those things with our boy Ken Canyon. And Ken went crazy last week.
Y'all gotta tune into that show we shot last week. Do not miss that one.
Yeah. So I mean, Ty, we ready to get it started, man, because I think they done heard enough of me right now.
Yes. Are y'all ready for this game? I want to see the fire emojis in the chat. If you're ready, if you're watching this on the pre-record, you're missing it. You gotta make it here on Monday and Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Big shout out to everybody that's making it here, because the game is going to be intense. As a matter of fact, I want to get straight into it. I don't really like talking about, the situational stuff too much. I like to get straight into the problems. That's what we want to figure out how to handle. The problems is what's taking us out the game. And in this particular episode, we talking about managing conflict with our ladies. Okay? Managing conflict with our ladies. Me personally, I know it took me. What am I talking about? It took me. I'm still figuring this out. I'm not even about to cap. I was about to go hard cap on my ability and experience to handle ladies. And I'm surrounded by these great men and women every week, and I'm still figuring this out. So specifically, I wanted to bring an episode to talk about that. The first thing I want to do is I want to go to you brothers and ask you guys this, because I want to know, and let's start with some testimonies here. I want to know, have you guys ever faced a conflict with your lady that nearly may have led to the end of the relationship? Just a conflict that nearly puts you overboard. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Tartt, because Dr. Tartt, I see you over here nodding.
And is that even possible? Is it possible to have a single incident that even puts you over the top like that?
Let me know, Dr. Tartt. What's going on?
For more than a month, 3 months.
Get close to that mic.
So that
Dr. Tartt.
first one, my wife is a former fitness competitor, right? And so when we first started, when we first got married, I'm just gonna be honest. I wasn't too open to her posting her photos online. Now, even though I'm a Christian psychologist and a minister and all that stuff, I'm privately not that conservative. All right. Okay. So I'm okay with that. It was just when she was posting it online, my mom was like, okay. And the minister's like, boy, your wife, boy, them pictures, they playing around. All right. And I was like, okay, that's fun. All right. But then I was like, I pride myself in supporting my wife's dreams. Don't be easy. Guess what she want to do? You met her like this. All right. Then you got to support it. You got to support it. All right. That wasn't the problem. The problem was I was like, all right, it's cool you doing this, but my wife kept winning. She's doing these fitness competitions and she kept winning. And so she kept training. I felt like I was dating Kobe. Right. And I was like, all right, man, you won 3 in a row. When we gonna start shutting this down? Right. And she was like, no, I'm winning. I was like, I get it. But I was like, we can't listen. We couldn't go out to eat. She got a jug of water. She's got cod. She's got her own meals at Valentine's Day. I said, no, put that away. I'm tired. This is enough. Right. I said, so I'm cool with supporting your dreams, but if this is forever, this is not what I want. The training of 2-a-days, it was just about time. It wasn't that it was just she's working and then 2-a-day workouts trying to win. And the most time I'm seeing my wife is on stage. And then when she's getting off, like, no, I got to go to sleep. All right, now I got to go train. Now I got to get up at 5 o'clock. I'm like, we ain't even had a chance to talk. I felt like I was a woman in a relationship. Let's connect, right? Be more like LeBron. Don't be Kobe. Be LeBron. LeBron support his family on vacation. Right. All right. So that was our biggest, probably our second biggest one, was about how to support her dreams, but also making sure that there's balance in the relationship so that we could date and have a semi-normal life versus her being an athlete all the time. That was rough.
That can be so tricky. And I think a lot of men have issues with that. Like, what if your woman is just as ambitious as you, right? Like, what do you do when she's shining, but you still got your thing going on? So I'm glad that you shared that with us. I'm not sure if
because I think
that.
most people, especially women, if I just catch a glimpse of that, if I just take a clip of what you just said and put it out, oh, he's insecure, girl.
Yeah.
Oh, little D energy over there. You know, all the attacks, but I think people kind of forget that, you know, we have needs as well.
Well, you know, and I'll get you guys' take on it. You have to walk the fine line between saying how you feel versus shutting it down. Because whatever you feel is going to come out anyway. Mm-hmm. So, like, do you say it openly? Hey, I like balance. Like, our deal was you do this for a season, but then she didn't anticipate being so good. Or maybe she did. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, all right, so how do we have balance? We have young kids, right? There's things that I want to do too. So let's try to balance this thing out. So one of the things that I think you have to figure out as a husband is when to support your wife and also to really keep it real about how you feel so y'all can negotiate both of them at the same time.
So this is what I want to know. So going into the trenches of it now. So that is the cause of some frustration with you, maybe even a little bit of neglect. So let's go into a little bit more of the mechanics of it, because did that cause like arguments in your relationship because of how you felt?
For sure. But we had to sit down. I said, all right, do we believe in supporting each other's life dreams? All right. Do you want me to keep it real or keep it fake with you? I said, I always want to support your dreams. I will also champion your dreams. But when we had an agreement that we would go in phases with this thing, if you could tell me how long you want to do this, or if you could do this with balance. My issue was not her doing it. It was the fact that her doing it, my wife gets so locked in that nothing else matters, right? Mm-hmm. And I get that. We get that as men. But when it gets to that point, do you want me to have resentment? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's like, I'm telling you up front that I've gone to the top of my tolerance in this season. So we negotiated is, could you take a season off and then a season on so that our marriage could flourish, so that we could have the quality time that we talked about, so that we could go on vacation, so that we could go on Valentine's Day without you bringing a jug of water. I'm just saying, I've supported you to the max. I was in the front row with you. You see what I'm saying? I'm there really quickly. All right. At first I was like, I called my friends. I said, should I be tripping that I have to go to these fitness competitions all the time? Is this something that you do as a man? I'm doing it.
Wow.
It's like every week I'm going out of town. Right. And he was like, man, you ought to be lucky that your wife fine enough to be doing that. Right. All right. And then the first competition, her dad comes and sits next to me. It's so awkward. Her dad is sitting next to me as she's competing on stage, turn around, pow, pow. And I'm looking down, and her dad turns to me and said, I hooked you up, didn't I, boy? And that kind of relaxed me. But the thing that I was battling with, I was like, look, you have to support your wife's dreams. How many times has your wife supported you? And you think she wanted to be there all the time? You have to be able to return the favor and do it with big energy. I can't be up in there with my hands crossed. I have to be in there like, go baby. I'd be silently hoping she's losing so that we could come off tour. But as she's winning, I'm there to support.
That's real. I mean, you kept it real right there, because again, ladies, I hope y'all hearing that in the chat. It's getting real and unlocked in here. Matter of fact, let me go over to Coach Crump, because I want to ask you, I know you came a long way. You've already expressed to us some of the things that you've kind of worked through in your marriage, but can you take me back? Was there a time when you were just having frequent arguments, disagreements, confrontation with your lady? Was that ever something that you guys experienced, in that kind of friction in your relationship?
Not external, but resentment internal. You know what I mean? I think context is everything.
Okay.
You know, me and my wife, I was 18, she was 20 when we met. And my level of maturity and communication skills, I was just like bump it energy, because I wanted what I wanted. And the conflict would be, instead of articulating in a way of what the psychologist broke down, I didn't have psychology background. I had niggeritis background. So I go left quick because that's all I had. But more time doing the personal development work, more time reading, more time getting mentors. Now a wise man overlooks an offense, right? Because I read Proverbs for 10 straight years. So it's like now I'm about to say something. I'm about to do something. Pause. Now I see other men who, hey man, I'm playing the long game 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. So now I'm like patience. You know what I mean? So those skills I didn't have at Jump Street. So I'm building resentment, but she don't even know it because I feel like it wasn't safe because I didn't create a safe space because I didn't have the communication skills or the coping skills. You know what I mean? So what I had basketball. So my therapy was, I was getting out in hoop. I'm cussing everybody out in hoop, but really I need to have a conversation with my wife. But I'm getting it out on the basketball court.
Wow.
So now, you know, when a man releases it, you like, it's all good, man. Let's go get something to eat. But I still needed to have that conversation. So again, conflict would arise. I don't have the communication skills. I don't know the timing. I don't know the technique. Resentment is building in me. Frustration is building in her because she wants the communication, but I'm just going left with the street mode. And over time, so for me, it wasn't a one thing. It was building up a frustration for her and building up resentment for me that could come out all types of ways over 20 years.
So conflict goes down, and instead of engaging in the conflict, you just shut down.
Or engaging it in a dysfunctional way.
Okay.
That after you realize, look, this is a great person. I want this. You know what? I'm not going to say nothing because I don't want nothing to pop off. I don't want nothing to go left because I bring it up, it's going to go left. You don't hear me. So it's like, you know, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to go hoop. So I'm coming back to it, but I got my resentment out. I got that energy out. I'm coming back to what we eating, what we watching, what we doing. But that conversation, that resolution never happened. And that was a big part of her frustration with me for a long time.
So the resentment, and I'm just curious to know here, where did that resentment come from?
Pride. You know what I mean? Pride. Like, you know, I had a huge ego. You know, I'm a basketball college player playing overseas. You know, women wasn't an issue for me. So for me, it was like, why do I have to say certain things? Why do I have to bring certain things up? It was a frustration for the fact that I even had to make you pay attention to me. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know, when you on your high horse,
yeah.
you do have a low tolerance for things. Even though, you know, those are things it's reasonable that somebody would have emotional reactions or, you know, be kind of going in one direction. You just feel like you just so much better, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, hey, listen, I'm shut down shop. This is a one-woman world for me for the rest of my life. So for me, it's like I'm a huge priority. And I think what I've learned is both of us, just like God is a jealous God, we're jealous that we're not a priority. It's not that you're in love with me or you committed to me. Like, we're married to each other. We need to be a priority for each other. Like,
yeah.
And I think both of us learned what that looks like because who my wife was at 20 is not who my wife is at 40.
Yeah.
Right. So the support is different. The conversations are different and vice versa for me as well.
I can see how that's an issue for a guy who especially gets newly married because a lot of single guys too, they typically avoid conflicts with women. Like that's kind of the culture of being single, especially if you're a guy that got options. One girl give you a headache, you just leave her and get another girl.
Yeah.
Or go to your other girl. So now you in this marriage now, and that's not even an option. Now I got to try to figure out how to deal with this one. I can imagine that's very humbling for a man where you can't use your strategy, the only strategy you had to avoid.
Listen, I tell people all the time as a sidebar, and I know we'll get the king here to do his thing, but like my disposition, my aura, my patience, my communication, my conflict resolution, that came because I had commitments in my 20s. Like if I would have been on the finesse ministry, hustle ministry, you know what I mean, flexing ministry, tough as a 40-year-old man with gray kicking in, trying to still look like I'm one of the dudes. I'm not. I'm a married man, family man, building a business, building my legacy with my children. But I'm only doing that if I keep it a buck with you, because my marriage holds me accountable every day of my life. Those children hold me accountable every day of my life. I can't run. I can't dodge the smoke. So I see a lot of guys, not because they're not capable, they're not accountable. And so they don't have that piece that makes them come on every single day to look at themselves in the mirror. I'm just a byproduct of looking at myself in the mirror for 22 straight years.
I can imagine what that is.
Right.
Bars.
Where's my popcorn? I'm enjoying that view. I'm like, yo, continue on.
Nah,
And the
popcorn
audience
over,
is going
Jay.
crazy too. We already 20 minutes in, over 250 in the room right now. So
Over 250
Jay,
in
you
the
gotta
room.
let us know. Have you ever been in a similar situation?
Absolutely, 100%. man, I want to respond to what they said. But I want to answer my own question too.
We're gonna come back. Listen, we're gonna come back to what they
We
said.
coming back. We coming back.
all
We
right.
start off just getting a picture. We get the snapshot picture
Facts.
of the pain, of the problems, of what we've experienced. I want people, because a lot of people, what we've heard is they see themselves in a lot of the issues that we all feel and experience. So I want them to see them in yours. And I want to go, because these some real smooth, non-argumentative, non-conflict. Listen,
no. That's an assumption.
Now,
That's an assumption.
now here's what I'm saying. I asked, have we ever had a season where we were frequently arguing, frequently running into those disagreements? Because that's really how a lot of these relationships be. I'm talking about.
You're dismissing subconsciously. You're dismissing that my internal warfare is just as violent as me doing something with my external hands and mouth.
You know what? Because it's a lot of guys hurting inside, and they suffering in silence. And
you think I'm getting addicted to alcohol because I'm losing how to cope. That's why alcohol is kicking in. That's why the weed is kicking in. That's why other issues is kicking in. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be violent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But so I'm doing violence in another way.
No, I get I 100% get how, especially avoiding not handling conflict and not communicating properly is very dangerous.
But I was just giving the context of something being like, it was constant resentment.
Yeah.
It was constant frustration.
Yeah.
It was just an internal warfare that both individually we was having and towards each other we was having. You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
It's like it's the same unhappy.
Yeah.
Understood. No, I agree. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Now, Jay, did you ever have a similar season going on in your marriage?
I mean, a few of them. A few of them in our years. And I think why I said earlier 5 years, 15 is because my wife and I we've known each other for maybe 6.5 years, married 5 years, but we've done everything in that 5 years. And we literally toured the country together to 34 cities.
That's true.
Together, right? We've shut down Houston's restaurant together in Atlanta. We led protest marches, built a real estate fund, launched a Black House, right? Like executive funded multiple movies and just a lot. And had a daughter and still raised my 2 other daughters and her bonus daughters. And so in a compressed span, that's a lot of pressure.
Sure.
And doing it all in the public eye.
Right.
On top of that, right? She's an actress. We're both influencers, if you will. So all that has been a lot for us. But one thing that Dr. Tartt said, I think that one thing I could point out is career. My wife's an actress. When I met her, she wanted to be an actress. She was 10 years old. She was on Sabrina, Seventh Heaven, other show.
Damn, Seventh Heaven.
Yeah.
That's legendary.
Yeah, she was on the other one, Sabrina Witch, or what's it called?
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Seventh Heaven. Yeah. She was,
Watch out now.
So she was extras on those shows. She was, she's been on Everything Feel Like a Man too with Kevin Hart. She's had this amazing long career and aspiration. She just recently did several episodes of Tyler Perry's Ruthless. She's been on, all these different shows, right? So acting is her thing. She's a poet, she's an entrepreneur, she got all kind of other accolades, but heart, true and true, I'm an actress. This is what God called me to do. This is what I'm gonna do with my life. I dropped out of UNLV as a Division I track scholarship athlete to pursue acting. I moved from Las Vegas to Atlanta to go meet Tyler Perry and Roger Bob and them, and got with Terry J. Vaughn. And right, her whole story of acting is everything to her. And after we got married, there were roles and films that were coming up, and she was like, watch her friends on different films. We might have to get naked or kiss or have sex scenes. And I was like, yo, I'm not with none of that. And she was like, well, when you met me, I was like, yeah, I was a different man when you met me. Like when I met her, I was a more liberal kind of guy. I was one of the young, immature guys. Like it was cool to show my wife off.
Right.
So you could wear something kind of see-through and risque, because that's my way of bragging, right? That's my way of flexing. It's like
this me right here.
This is me pre-man of God me.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Right? So pre-man of God me is like, it's the cool, you show your woman off and she can wear whatever she want to wear. And I don't care if you do all of this because I know you mine. And essentially to me, that's like almost men whoring their women out. Right? When it's really your woman and it's really someone you're covering. God gives responsibility to cover them.
Ephesians 5, go there.
Right? I have a certain duty. And so it's like, I can't bless and not just outside of my own feelings around it, but I know it's not biblical and it's not what God wants his daughter to do. Right? And it's not what I want my daughters to see. I get, well, that's just acting, right? That's just the craft. You're not understanding the craft. And you tell me I can't kiss. You tell me you don't want to be an actress, right? So she's saying because it's so rooted in Hollywood that a beautiful woman has to have sex scenes or physical intimacy scenes. She's saying me alone, giving her a restriction that she can't kiss men or do nudity or sex scenes, that I'm literally eradicating or banishing her acting career. I'll never get a role if that's the rules. I said, well, if that's what that industry...
Jay, this good. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, this compelling. This compelling.
But if this what this industry requires, then this ain't the industry for us. We're not governed by that industry. We're governed by the word of God.
Wow.
And so and I have a certain responsibility, right? And you have a certain responsibility. So she literally told me, she told me before this interview, don't say anything that's going to embarrass her.
So she know we get the real out. That's why.
But I think we're okay with this. If not, ask for forgiveness.
No, that's Jay. I mean, first off, when you was talking about her just being an actress alone and being just that dedicated, that's scary for most men.
Yeah.
You know, and then now you got this other aspect to it where sex sells. At the end of the day, the more you put yourself out there in terms of, you know, the way you dress and the way you present yourself sexually, the more money you could potentially make, the more status you could potentially have.
For sure.
A woman never have to worry about being broke, but all money ain't good money.
All money ain't good money.
And he said something powerful when he said, I was with her, same woman, but I was pre-man of God, post-man of God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That energy is a big difference. And I tell people all the time when I've been blessed to mentor men for a long time, right? And I tell what's your code, bro? Like, make sure if you ain't got no code going into this, the world got all type of little tricks and thrills and stuff to make money. What is your code? It's certain stuff I just don't do, period. I don't even put myself in a particular position to be in a position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I said, that's the challenge when we're trying to chase the bag or try to chase status or chase whatever. You end up being a sucker. And I tell people, don't get caught being goofy because you ain't got no code, right? So my wife loved TikTok dances. Great. Put on a hoodie. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. I'm a man.
Right.
Everybody else gonna be, your girlfriend's like, that's dope. You and your daughter doing a dance. A dude is thinking something completely different.
The
and I don't
going
even
left
need
to right.
my image of my wife like that. You know what I'm saying? So you could do it, but go ahead and put that hoodie on.
And
He said a whole hoodie.
but listen, it depends how she curves. You feel me? It's
I understand, bro.
So understand like this, like so two parts. One, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all His righteousness, and these things will be added unto you. So like we're not chasing the bag, we're not chasing Hollywood. Like we chase our Father. Everything else gonna be blessed, right? So and it comes back to what kind of code do you have as a man, but what kind of code is your family on? What kind of household is you? That's why Joshua says, "For me and my house, we gonna serve the Lord." So it's like, what principles are you governed by? Are you governed by the Jay-Z Beyonce principles? Are you governed by the what's trending principles? What's gonna get us viral principles? Or we judged by the principles of God, right?
Right.
So that was, a big context for us. And
what your lady said, the bar you was about to drop.
Oh,
we kind of left that. We got to go right back to that, Jay.
Yeah, wait,
we got to go.
Dr. Tartt just said. What did you just say?
I said I was
Put a whole hoodie on.
Oh, that part. So I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that answer.
Yes.
But when we talk about this is why there's so much like cheating and adultery and just all the slick stuff a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the way that we are dressing our women up or they're dressing up so provocative, but then it's like this. If I bring my woman around you with see-through this and a third, something little maybe covering her chest, right? Booty all out, all this kind of stuff. But then I'm mad at you if you try to holler or you try to slip or you slow a slick jab or not.
That's inconsistent.
Right? But now I'm mad at you, or you might think she's looking at you a certain kind of way, right? So it's inconsistent. So it's like a lot of the way that we move as a culture leads to a lot of the second consequences of things that happen because how we move.
Facts.
Right? So anyway, back to the answer. So
hold on. I see the conflict. And tell me this where you're going. I see the conflict between I have to support my wife's dreams, all right? But also I know how I feel as a man simultaneously. And I can't leave timing. I know how I feel simultaneously. I have 6 in one hand. I support my wife. I'm not a controlling dude, but at the same time, there's a certain way in which I want the house to be.
Absolutely. And it's that third thing, because the I in me is like, nah, y'all, these kings right here is not going to see my woman on TV, tonguing down another man or fake riding another man. Oh, she's like, oh, well, they have a strap on or they have some kind of thing they put on when you're having the sex scenes, right? You don't really touch, genital to genital. Bro, nobody I know is going to be watching my wife on screen, not Jay Morrison's woman. Right. So it's that part of my man, pride, ego, standard, whatever you want to call it. But then it's the third part is the God principle, though. So outside of even how I feel, I could be even cool with it. What's the word of God say? Yeah. That's what we govern by. And how does God feel about you as a virtuous woman being on TV, fake riding somebody, and our 2-year-old daughter Kobe is like, mommy. Yeah. And you just tell her it's just art. Like we ain't living like that. Not the Morrison household. So
and I think that's important. The Morrison household. I'm not, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm speaking to how I raised my house. I'm not speaking to what everybody else should be doing, how everybody else should be processing. But as for me and my house, this is what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna be out here. Listen to me, this is how my wife is. If she saw me in public and 2 women was laughing too much at me in a conversation in public, my wife will walk up knowing, what's so funny? Well,
where's she from?
That passive aggressive, like she don't play about, like just wait. I don't play about her. She don't play about. She ain't gonna let me. Now I could put my guns ain't what it used to be, but with the right angle and some lotion, I can beat or let me do my devotions like this
with the bicep flexion.
You know what I'm saying? With a slight, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, bruh, what are you really? What am I really attracted to? Let's keep it a buck. We grown.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yes, I'm reading devotions to y'all, but who's really seeing something different? Who's really catching something different? You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of what I do it behind the scenes because it's like I ain't trying to catch the side energy. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't even want to go down that road. But so I want to be clear. I'm not saying what everybody else should be doing, what everybody else should be going. I'm saying as for me and my house, that's how we operate, and that's because we got a purpose of where we're going. My daughter's having certain conversations. She's turning 16 next month. We had a rites of passage with her to go over her intelligent experience from South African and the whole 9. And she's asking me very honest and open and dope conversation. But she is moving in a way because she see how her father and her mother is moving in a way her whole life.
Right.
All right.
So real quick and we're gonna go ahead and move to Dr. Tartt, but real quick, I want to give a shout out. We had 2 new members join already. Shout out to Kim Trap 83 and shout out to Lamonte Charity. So we already going crazy. 13 more members to go for tonight, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop that membership link in there real quick. But Dr. Tartt, so you talk about these different channels, especially Jay's. Man, I'm not even sure how I would handle that one. And I'm just very curious, particularly in a situation with you and your wife. Your wife is on stage, you're going, having these levels of resentment and things. Was it ever a point where you feel like you crossed the line in that communication or in that conflict?
I mean, I don't think I crossed the line because I think it's where you have to be real with yourself. I mean, if you talk about a relationship, you want to be good at it. Like, I want to be great at marriage. I want to be great at relationship. When people see me, they can be like, yo, they're good at relationship. I don't want to be a fraud. I don't want to be, on Instagram and doing, because I think we've all been there. We could be on stage, but privately you're going through it. Right. I don't want to be there. That's hard. Yeah. Right. So I was like, I want to be able to be good at communicating. This is where you have to know yourself. If I don't say how I feel, how am I going to move? If I don't say how I'm going to feel, I know how I'm going to move. And I don't like the way I'm going to move. All right. So I can say it, but I need to say it in a way in which if people saw it on YouTube, they say, fam, you said it the right way. Now, if she didn't receive it, all right. And so I wish.
Let's talk about that, though. Yeah. So you got to a point where you say how it needs to be said, but now talk about that timing that you got to learn too, when to actually broach the conversation about what needs to be said.
We call it a conflict plan. All right. I'll share this. When I first got married, I felt like, if I'm mad, I'm just going to release myself, right? Because it doesn't matter whether you're a minister, whether you're a psychologist, and you're in a relationship, you're still going to get mad, right?
Right.
And so I said, instead of me behaving out of pocket, I know I'm about to go there, all right? So I'm going to go take a shower. Wife was talking. I went and got in the shower. In the shower, man, I was going in. I was like, yo, sorry, talking this and that. But I was going off in the shower. Fam, she walks in the shower and overhears the conversation. Gets in the shower and was like, keep talking what you're saying. I was like, no, this don't count. In the shower, I don't know you there. I'm venting. I just say whatever I want. It's your fault for coming in the shower, right? So we had a rule. I can go vent to myself, blow off steam. And I don't know about you, Jay and Coach, is after I vent, I realize that half stuff I be thinking is stupid, right? After I vent, I'm like, you know what? Sister girl had a point. I shouldn't be tripping on this. Oh, no, I feel firm about this, right? I'm going to stand on this. I've had time to think about it, right? So now we have a conflict plan that I can go take a shower. I can take 15, 30 minutes, process it, because that's the real me. I don't know if y'all are anything like me. In the moment, I'll swear I'm right. Give me about 30 minutes or an hour or even a day to sleep on. I'm a totally different dude, right? So I said, all right, maturity, let me think about this and let me come back to you. So our conflict plan is that my wife will give me 30 minutes to an hour to think about it, to marinate. And then my wife's plan, because we're kind of a little bit atypical. My wife is the one that will shut down, right? Because I joke with my wife. I said, "Here come Inglewood, about to shut it down. Come that Inglewood by South Central. Here it come. Everybody see the pageant. Nice girl behind closed doors. Shut down. You ain't gonna say nothing for like 2 days. That doesn't work for me. All right. So I said, so if I'm gonna take time to measure my words, because you're my lady. Talking against you is hurting my own flesh. We're one flesh.
Right.
So if I'm going to measure myself and I'm going to I'm going to practice temperance, one of the fruits of the spirit, then I need you to step up and communicate, because otherwise you're not talking. It's making me want to come find you. So we need to be able to blend two of those together.
That's very mature. You know, what I was going to say earlier was we talked about conflict and each of the kings told their stories. Y'all told your stories. I was like smiling because I'm like, that pressure from your wife, that burns something off you. And it builds up that patience or that conflict resolution. It gives us these skills to be better husbands. It's like husbandry is like the maintaining of a thing. And it's the maintaining of crops or agriculture or your livestock, but it's also just maintaining and having responsibility over a thing. And so it's like, think about a farmer and that hot sun or that drought or that whatever's or the infestation or the coyotes came and ate my chickens, whatever issue you have on your farm, it's your responsibility. You got to figure out a way to fix it and to manage it.
Right.
So when we have these conflicts with our wives, I've learned from my elders to be able to embrace it, because like you said, she came from me. She came from my rib. She's a reflection of me. So what about me I don't like? So when I'm so upset with her, there's something that's in me that's having a tough time being able to deal with that, really deal with another version of me. And so I take it on as a challenge to just get better at myself and how I deal with her.
And let me ask you, do you feel like there was ever a time where you, especially, you know, in your unskilled states, or I mean, maybe even now, like, was there a time where you or her may have crossed the line in, you know, dealing with conflict in the midst of conflict?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%. I think, and at those times I regret, because I feel like I failed the test. It's like I make it a point, no matter what my wife says, and she's a poet and she's a Pisces and all of that. She could say some stuff.
She can flow. His wife can flow.
Right. and I just take it on as a challenge. Like, no matter what you say, like I'm not going to let that thing trigger me and let me match your emotions with my emotions. That's not my job.
Ooh, that's manhood. I had to learn when I saw my dad and my mom would talk to my dad. I'm like, Dad, you let mom chump you off. And my dad would say, just wait till you get older. You're going to understand about composure. What you think is weakness is really composure. There's a time and a place for everything, right? And so when I got into marriage, I realized it's actually sexier. It's actually more of, when we start talking about submission, I'm not trying to start anything.
It's more masculine.
It's more masculine to be able to handle her storm. Because I used to call myself Diddy. I have Diddyism. Like, oh, you even talk to me like this? And I realized how weak that looked. Like, my wife is triggering me versus me sitting back, hearing what she's saying. Sometimes I'll say, hey, you know what? You gotta take tone down. Say the same thing. Take tone down. I'm here, right? I'm here. Take a walk or whatnot. But I measure myself now, which I never did before, on how composed I am at being able to handle her storm. Now, she does have a box. And my wife is not like the type to get all like angry majority. She's more likely to shut down. But it's like my composure and my ability to handle things is how I measure myself. because his name is, y'all know RC Blakes.
Yeah,
He said,
yeah. We waiting. RC, we waiting on you to join the show.
have home, wonderful brother. I called him. I said, look, man. I said, look, I'm doing this composure thing, and she is taking license to keep going. Right? She is keep going. It is not settling down. He says, you could do whatever you want to do, brother, but just remember, the same way you deal with her is the same way I want you to have a license for your daughter's future husbands to deal with them. However you respond, if you're cool with the husband saying that to them, do it to your wife. And I was like, I would have yoked me up a couple times.
So what's that balance of having, assertiveness where you're still being able to not necessarily be a pushover, but you're still having that level of composure? Like what is that balance?
This is my 5-year, the youngest one at the table here. Perspective. But no, I've literally sat under elders though. I sat under wise men and I sit in the wise council. And the way I've been taught is like, okay, I don't subscribe to any religion, but I am obedient to the word of God. I'm obedient to our Father. It says that we should love our wives how Christ loved the church. Right? A sacrificial love and a covering love, a long-suffering love, a patient love, a kind love, right? And so the way I've been taught, and that works, is I deal with my wife as close to I can, because we can't ever be our Father. We can't ever be as strong, as wise, and as almighty as God, right? But that's my example for how I deal with my wife, how God deals with us. So God don't go fussing with us, King. When we act up and we were rebellious and we stiff-necked and we do what we do, God don't do that. He just moves. I don't get into a bunch of back and forth. I don't have to do all of that. I just move. As a man, my posture, my energy, but then I'm also concerned with, as a husband, just how God is with us, what's wrong with my wife? Not what is she saying, but what's the root of what's wrong with her? And how can I be man enough to heal that, to fix that? Is it she needs more hugs? She needs more love? She needs to be told she's beautiful a little more? Like what really is the root of it? And it's not me being a simp for that. It's actually being more godly to figure out, more husbandly to figure out, how do I fix my crop, if you will? How do I fix what's producing my heirs? I don't want a broken vessel producing my heirs. I want her to be as healed and as empowered and as life-giving and bubbly as possible, but still understanding that we have a certain code within our household and that there's rules, the same as our Father's with us. Like He wants abundance for us. He wants us to shine and to glow and to be lights and all that, but we still got statutes, still commandments, still laws, still judgments, right? And so, that's what my thing is, to not get so caught up in the pride of winning the argument or proving that I'm right. It's not. I don't care about being right. I care about what's right and what's true. So I really try to think about what's hurting her, what's ailing her. And as I said on our podcast before, I instantly turn a mirror on me and figure out where am I failing? Where can I be? Now, when I can honestly say that, I'm on point. Right? I can stand on that now. So now I don't got to do a bunch of arguing. I just stand on what I stand on.
Yeah.
Here's what the word says. Here's what I say. I've really checked my mind, my ego, all those things to make sure that I'm approaching you fair and justly. And then at that point, I'm just standing on principles. No matter how much you kick and scream, say this and the third, I can stand on it and stand on it with a good heart. And I'm still here to receive whatever it is, that you want to discuss and be open-minded about. But I'm just firm on what I'm firm on.
Now, not everybody is able to handle conflict like that. So I am very curious. So this is what I did. I just dropped the poll because I want to know what the audience, because like I said, they're not doing it like y'all doing it. So we got to figure some stuff out. So I dropped the poll. How do you typically handle conflict? And we got 4 options up there. We got assertive, we got aggressive, we got passive, and we got passive aggressive. Now I know,
but I want to say something, because to Tyshawn's question, like context matters, and even your question comes from an immature space in the context of husband. Mm-hmm. Like we could talk about trying to get fairness and try to get mutual resolution in general relationships, but in a husband, like it's set up to be unfair for you to be, like when it comes to your flesh, in the sense of the godly response. You fully surrender to God, she'll fully surrender her. You talked about the mirror. The marriage is a mirror. It's just a reflection of where the pain is. So going back to listening and processing and interpreting, like my job is not to say, let me see how I can win this. See, when I'm at work, when I'm with my boys, when we argue about LeBron and Jordan, like I'm trying to win the argument. When I'm with my wife, I'm trying to win her heart. So I gotta listen. It's not about me trying to win it. See, he said he was Diddy, I was Dodo. I was Dodo for a long time and struggling with the scorecard ministry. And I only was looking at trying to win stuff with my wife because I was vastly insecure with myself, that I needed her behavior to be a certain way to validate my own manhood and personality. So when I got full to embrace myself and my position to surrender to God, I fully accepted not my wife, Nicole, and all of her humanity. So my job wasn't to try to win anything. We already win it. We on the same team. That's not the discussion we're having. The way that you're expressing, what you're really saying is you're in pain. You're in some form of pain. My job as your partner is to do an appropriate diagnosis to understand how can I support and help and heal your pain, not to win anything. We already won.
So I want to ask you about that, because for the brother that's there, right? Because I mean, me personally, even me, be honest, and I think a lot of us, if we probably can reflect back and even probably think about it, because I grew up in an arguing household. Like I grew up with a man who went back and forth with a woman, and I seen it on multiple occasions. And for the man that's doing that, because I think a lot of brothers have not gotten to that place of mastery or self-mastery where they can be unperturbed while all of this is going down. So where is that man that is in that place where he's going back and forth with that woman at that time? Where is he?
Well, I don't know where he is, but I know he has to deprogram himself. I had to. Like I love my daddy. I honor my father, but his example served me to a point. I got to a point in my marriage where I had to unlearn things. I had to try new things. Like, but if you're not in a healthy space yourself, it's going to be hard to do introspective work, right? So it's more of a question to a person, because if you think you're going to get in a marriage, if you think you're going to be a husband and we're going to talk about some secret sauce, we're going to talk about finding a way to make it easy. There's only one way, the hard way. There's only one way this is going. So the question now becomes, are you built for it? That's what the question is. The question ain't, hey, is it holy? Is it sanctifying? Is it legacy building? It's all of that. But you know how you're going to do it? The hard way. So the question is, are you spiritually, emotionally built? And you got to be honest with yourself. Adults do a lot of lying. You got to be honest with yourself. You're like, bro, I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to certain things. When it comes to her, like I'm clueless. I need help. Yeah. That is the first base to get to. When you get to that base, you can get to second base from there. But that's the biggest base to get to.
Yeah, I feel like you have to have dominion over your emotions, right? And if you can't have dominion over your emotions, it's very hard to have dominion over a household. You can't even control you. So, I grew up in a household where there was not only arguing, there was kicking and spitting and fighting and punching and cops called and all that for most of my youth and adolescent growing up. And I remember in my early 20s, I had the same kind of just rage and tendencies and just output to my mid 20s. I just decided like, yo, I'm just not going to be like, that's just not going to be me. I'm just not going to be that kind of guy. And that also fuels me, even as things may intensify in my household, is like, I'm just not going, I just already committed. I'm not going to have that for my family. Like, I'm not going to be cursing in front of my kids. I'm not going to be, they're not going to just get that energy. Like, I know that energy of just waking up with my mom screaming in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. as a kid, and you hear your mom screaming and a bunch of ruckus and things breaking in the living room. Like, I know that adrenaline and that heart racing feeling. And I never want my kids to have that. So in order for me to prevent that, and for those who are watching, one is all the premarital work. Be careful about who you choose, right? So many men, like I just think that manhood is all about, as the Kings mentioned earlier, is about accountability. So to me, everything that happens on my watch, on my estate, in my farm, if you will, as a husband, it's all my fault. It's all on my watch. All the responsibility is mine. So if you end up with a woman that's crazy, or she's doing something with your kids, or whatever, King, you didn't vet her before you put a seed in her. That's on you. You chose that woman. So so if she's crazy, what's that say about you when you married her? Right. So I take back to the self-reflection, but when we can make those better choices, even going into dating, and have that dominion over ourselves, or do that introspective work ourselves first, to know like, yo, I'm really not ready to manage a woman and all her feelings and all her being and all her humanity. And I'm really not ready to manage children and all their being and all their humanity, because I could still go off as somebody cut me off in the Chick-fil-A line. Right? Like, these are the things you got.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you still a person that like still go off because somebody cut you off in a drive-through line, like,
you might not be ready.
You ain't ready.
You probably ain't ready for a wife.
And as long as you're honest, my thing is, it's cool wherever you are. Just be honest with yourself. My biggest challenge is people be lying to themselves. They put it on other people why they behave the way they behave, and that keeps you rather than just
everybody else's fault.
Just be honest about where you at. If you can do that, we can work from there.
I think it's changing. Like you see, I mean, 3 brothers that's very opinionated. All right. The pressure on manhood is you get to control the temperature of the household. At the end of the day, the buck stops with you. So part of that is like, we're talking about a wife submitting to you. It's really she's submitting to your leadership. Right. And leadership is sometimes we're the first one to apologize. We're the first one to say, hey, babe, I don't know how this is going to go. Let's go ahead and operate in prayer. Let's go ahead and take this to the Lord real quickly, because right now I'm heated. I don't want to say something I regret. Let's take it to the Lord. All right. I can tell you this, because my personality is I'm very type A. Now I'm still a therapist and laid back, but I'm still type A. Right. So I have to exercise on a regular basis. All right. I have massages twice a month. Right. I have to meditate. Right. And I have to take some like this is a little lavender calm, because I'm naturally keyed up, right? So I want to stay composed. My natural temperament is similar. Ain't nobody like Tyshawn, right? But my natural temperament, wake up, let's go, let's get it, let's go right now. Yeah. Are y'all ready?
You know yourself.
Right? But my wife is very calm, and there's a certain tone that she requires, right? And so I have to say, all right, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm the best me, which means you have to evolve for the family. But the second thing, and keeping it real, because I know there are a lot of kings out there like, I got to say something, right? It's talking in terms of feelings, not thoughts. So when so the currency with our wives is we care how they feel. They care how we feel. I don't really care what she thinks. She doesn't care what I'm thinking. That's why we having an argument. I think we should not go on vacation. She thinks we should go on vacation in Bali. That's how my wife is. All right. I'm like, well, why are we going to Bali? Right. And so we can argue about that. We can go there. We went, that's the crazy thing. I was like, damn, I feel culture. But anyway, that's a whole other point. But I think when we talk feelings, so I had to develop an emotional vocabulary. I was doing therapy with a guy. He was stationed in Bahrain. Right. And his strategy for dealing with his wife is just let her talk and let it pass over. But the wife's complaint was all he does is silent and shut down. And then when it's over, say, what you have to say? He said nothing. He was like, I'm supposed to let it go, ride it out for maybe a week or two and be good. But the same issue keeps coming up. And so what we did was it gave him this emotion wheel. And on this emotion wheel has about maybe like 50, 60 feelings. I said, circle the feelings, how you feel right now. He was like disrespected, judged, emasculated, misunderstood. And I said, say that to her. He said that to her, right? And then they were able to have a conversation. As men, we have to be taught emotion vocabulary when we're talking to our wives.
Wow.
Well, wait, real quick, Dr. Tartt, because that brings me. Listen, we dropped the poll. How do you typically handle conflict? Now we got a lot of liars, obviously, in the audience, because most people said assertive. But the second one at 32%, because I'm gonna end this poll at 117 votes. We got 32% of people said that they typically respond passively. So, Dr. Tartt, I'm going to ask you, why do you think men in particular might choose to be passive in the situations of conflict?
I'm already looking at King James. Coach, I already know what they're going to say, right? Do you ever want to be triggered to a point where you say something you regret? Being overly emotional is a weakness in marriage. That's what, when I talk to men.
For men or for women?
For men.
Okay.
All right, because I don't ever want you. If you get to me to where I want to smack you, you get to me to where I want to call you out your name. You get to me where this is cue to buck. Don't even worry about it. I just text somebody. I'm not gonna keep it real funky with you and just be chill. I just text old girl. You want to be disrespectful? I know who won't.
Right.
I'm just gonna smile right now. I'm just gonna smile. I don't say nothing, right? I'm just gonna smile. But if I don't want to do that, you get what I'm saying? So you can't be passive. But so most guys don't know what to say. How you gonna argue with an actress who's a poet? How he's gonna argue with his girl, right?
Can't win.
You can't. And even me, someone that's very verbal, my wife just wins by shutting down. You can't make me talk. You so smart, you can't make me talk, right? Which infuriates me, right?
Wow.
So
They go listen. It's important to understand they're going to win every single argument.
Wait, the women gonna win every single argument. The wife. Okay.
Again, context matters.
Okay.
Because you guys are jumping back and forth between courting and just general. No, your wife is going to win. How you respond to move on, to improve, to and reinforce, to intervene going forward, right? Resolution at the moment and going forward. That's the key. But trying to but that
you're trying to feel.
But that will though. That's a tactic that you could give your community.
You got to feel. So you got to see. It's about feeling one another. It's not about. We're not arguing over right or wrong, right? We all believe in giving our wives, independence and free voice. That's why you picked them. We picked the wives that we have because we like the way they talk. We like the way they communicate. We like the way they show up. We like the fact that they have presence, right? And so we have to be able to just feel me. So I'll tell my wife when I come in, please don't hand me the baby when I walk in. Just when I walk in, just let me just take a shower. I won't stay in the shower for 45 minutes. I won't pull that on you. Give me a quick 10. Give me a quick, I have done that before. Give me a quick 10. Right? Give me a quick 10.
20 tops.
Let me decompress and then I'll come. She doesn't have to agree, but feel when I come in the house. In my profession, I'm probably on the phone, still working on emergencies when I'm coming home, right? So me opening the garage doesn't mean I'm decompressed. When I come in, I'm finally like, all right, woosah. Now she may not agree, but she understands. And I also feel like, hey, because I've been solo with the kids. The minute you open this door, I'm trying to have a life. I'm trying to get on this Peloton. I'm trying to watch my shows. I'm trying to go kick it with my girls. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm just trying to have some time to go to the bathroom with a little baby. I'm just trying to take a shower without the boy crying, opening the shower door, right? So if we feel one another, then we can move like we feel. And I think that's where brothers and sisters, but especially the men, you're going to at least feel me.
Yeah, but I want to go to your poll when you said that the majority they're going to be assertive and most of your community is women. Right?
It says assertive, yeah.
So I don't know if it's capped.
Now we do got a strong 23% at passive aggressive because that sounds more like women.
I know, but I'm just saying either way, whether they passive aggressive or assertive aggressive, the point I'm making is that from a man who decides to make you my one and only true love, and you may be at the stage where you're fiance or you have a long-standing relationship or you're married. Like it is very hard. I've let you into the most vulnerable place of my life to be on my side in public and that I'm going to sacrifice my life for you. Like that level of love for me is not no feeling. It's in the core of my essence. You provoking me, I may break and kill somebody. Like I don't want to do that. So a lot of times I'm not talking, not because I don't have words. I don't want him to come out because I have no idea what he can do. Like matter of fact, I kind of
I know what he could do.
I kind of know, but it will ruin everything. Yeah. And so I'm literally just trying to hold here to compose myself. I have punched a hole through a wall. I have punched a hole through a dryer. I have done some things where I'm like, and you don't even really, you do stuff, and then you calm down. Then there's blood all down your arm, but you didn't like it. It was just you have the power to take me to a place that can be damaging for everybody, but you also have the power, listen to me, women, to take me a place that can be beautiful for all of us forever. So you have to use grace and discernment as well to be like, we want to love you. That's not the question because we're here. So if you're not getting it, assertive and being passive aggressive only makes it worse. Women need to know that.
when we talk to men, and I ask men, what's the number one quality of a wife? Almost every man says she has to be my peace.
Come on.
You gotta be my peace.
Go there with the data and the
The
professional
peace.
background.
I vote that.
Is that agreed by all the men?
Yeah, bro. I'm not
If we
working
argue-
all day to come home to anything, but bro, I'm not coming home to none of that. I like if you could just be naked and there's food cooked and then we could just get like that'd be perfect. But but don't bring drama, don't bring tension. Like I'm not coming home to, and I'm trying my best not to explode. And over the years, I've just got really good at coping, managing, redirecting. I just got better at it. You know what I'm saying? But the shutdown wasn't because I can't wait to. I didn't wake up that morning, so I can't wait to shut down on you. I shut down because I'm like, I don't want Crump to come out. So help me, Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let me walk, let me hoop, let me do whatever. So it's like it's important for women to really understand that, bro.
You know, I want to reverse engineer that because I agree with the King said. Like, it could either be you punching a wall, saying something crazy that you know you could say, right, that you know will be hurtful.
Yeah.
It could mean that text to Shorty. It could mean a lot of other things for us to release this level of like resentment, disrespect, or whatever it is. But I'll tell you what it is rooted in, right? This is why I think the delineation between courting and dating and women and wife is different. See, especially as alpha, if there's all alpha men here at the table. And when you're a man that's truly committed, that listen, I'm gonna protect and I'm provide for this woman, meaning that I'm literally have already committed in my DNA that if there's a car swerving and she's on the other side of the door, I'm pushing her out the way and I'm giving up my life no matter all potential that Jay Morrison has. It's up for her. I'm literally, if a burglar comes in the house, I'm never asking her to get up, babe, and see what's going on up there. Whatever was going to happen, I'm taking all first consequences. If some nutcase comes and shoots a movie theater, knock on wood, guess what? I got to cover my body over hers. I mean, I'm giving up my most sacred possession for her. So we get this level of frustration over certain things when we're not getting that peace, right? Like that's the exchange we want is I'll be the dude that's willing to go hard in the paint to protect you and give you the life of your dreams, the wedding of your dreams, or whatever I can within my capacity of your dreams. I'll be that guy and I will lay down my life for you. Sacrificial love, like Christ died on the cross type love, like y'all give it up for you. So the main thing I'm asking for in return, right? So you got that. So you can have peace of mind that you're covered. There is a man outside my daddy. What relationship is it with him? There's a man that's capable, that has my back and my front and my everything, and is willing to do the most sacrificial, the most love-bearing thing that you could do for a person. There's somebody that's committed to doing that for me, right? So she can have a peace of mind knowing she's covered. All we want is peace of mind knowing that we have peace.
Actually, you know what? My man, but in Proverbs, ain't that Proverbs 21:19? It's better for a man to be alone in the desert than to be at home with a complaining and quarrelsome wife.
Wow.
So I mean that's
actually over the edge.
That actually is something that we it's not good for us. I want to
in Proverbs 16:24, you know, sweet words like a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. So when you start talking about a woman, we want our woman to be direct, but a woman's power is her softness.
Yeah.
Not being weak, just being soft and saying the same thing. It's the tone. Hey, babe, do you think we can take a vacation? Hey, babe, could you reconsider your position yesterday? Hey, babe, I know you're tired, but would you mind grabbing the key? That's all we want. It's the tone for a lot of brothers that shows. You talking about respect? It's the tone of how you come with me. If we be willing, and it's silly stuff we do. Now you talked about lying over your wife with, you know, if someone's shooting. Man, we buy expensive chandeliers for no reason. Right. Do stuff our wife asks us to do for no reason. We don't agree.
Just to see her happy though.
Yeah.
If that's what you want, babe. If that's what you want.
Just to see
if you really want to go all the way over here to Bali for whatever reason, I'm gonna support your dreams. But I don't see why we couldn't just go to Florida. All right. Just being base dude. But if that's what you want to do, if even if you can't afford it, here's the secret: men will stretch.
Yeah.
Men will stretch. Men will actually go into their credit card and just tell me, I got it. Don't even worry about it. Right? Just to make you happy. But if I'm willing to stretch that, if I'm willing to go make it happen, if I'm willing to actually come up with another plan, take another gig, do things I wouldn't normally do if you want to do it. Because most men are comfortable where they are, but if their wife wants to stretch, kids need private school. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All right. All I want you to do is just talk to me as a king. Say the same thing with peace. You can't say that. I don't think you wife quality.
So Dr. Tartt, that actually brings me to a word you said. And I think this is a strong word, probably. And you let me know if this is one of the worst places that a man can be. Because out of all the words on that emotional wheel, which I need to learn all them damn words myself, I'm sure. But you said that, brother, one of the words he felt was emasculated. Is that not one of the worst places that a man can be, is feeling emasculated in his relationship?
I mean, you got to tell him, yes. I mean,
that's the lowest, right?
Wait, hold on.
It's one of the lowest.
Before you get into that, because I want to do this special, because we just hit over 450 people live in the chat. And I really want to hear specifically from the members. I specifically want to hear from our women. And I want to hear just some examples. I want to hear how dirty things can get.
But before we get into dirty,
I want you to address that. I want you to ask this. I want the women to put in the chat, my members only. I want to hear from our women members only. Describe a time, honestly, where something that you did to emasculate your man. Because I kind of want to get some examples. So go ahead, Cron. What you got?
No, I was thinking about this by giving some practical tactics. Like one of the things, in conversation that my mentor told me was what made a difference for her in talking to her husband was saying, can you help me? Can you help me, babe, do this? Like, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do that? It's like, as simple as it is, adding the word help, right, is a different energy from a man. And then rub the back of that neck. I don't know how the food would get there before there, but like DoorDash, you got to cook it, but just bring the food and place it to me, babe. Want to make sure you got something to eat. And then ask your question, we'll put that hand on the back of it. My wife, look, no matter what she say after that. If I'm eating, she rub the back of the neck.
You feel better.
Listen, hey, babe, can you help me? Yes, babe, I got.
But see, Coach Cron, I don't think a lot of even women know that their men might be in an emasculated state. Like they literally might not even know or know certain actions are getting them or taking him there.
So what is emasculation?
That's what I want to talk about. Okay, let's start there. Let's define emasculation, and then I want to hear what are some things that you guys may have experienced or you see that are activities or actions that may emasculate a man. So let's start with the definition first. What is emasculation?
We got the clinical professor here, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and define that, doctor.
What's interesting when you start talking about emasculation, some of it's the inside game, right? So some of it is like, do I feel like a man before I come home, right? So the more secure I am, the harder it is for you to emasculate me, because you can't emasculate someone that's already a man. You can disagree with me. You can be disrespectful. You can be out of pocket, but that's not emasculating me. You see what I'm saying? Who I am. And then the other piece of that is it can be a marital piece to where you've asked me to lead, but when I speak up on something that I really need you to stand down on, and I have principles for this. I'm not just doing it to control you. When you don't, most men feel unappreciated, right? Like I'm just gonna be honest. That's below my standard. If you want a man like me, I'm not going to control you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if I feel strongly about something, all right, and I ask you not to do it, I just need you to give me the benefit of the doubt that I don't do this very often. I see something. I'll give you an example. I went to my wife. I joined. I've been in psychology 23 years. I went to ministry 6 years ago, and I came home. I said, "Babe, I'm not drinking anymore." All right, and so I said, "I'm just not drinking anymore." God told me, just don't do it. I don't knock anyone else to do it. Just for me, he was like, just don't do it anymore. I said, okay. It had something to do with longevity. Showed me a vision. I was like, all right. So I went to my wife and I said, babe, I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't think you should drink. She was like, I'm grown. It's because you're in the ministry. You don't have anything to do with it. In the Bible, it say wine. I don't know. You on some super religious type stuff, right? I said, be that as it may. All right. God is telling me, he didn't tell me why. He's just telling me for you not drink. And she was like, are you serious right now? I said, babe, do I ever pull a move like this? Do I ever say anything? I'm more likely to flex. I mean, to flex and just say, I don't like this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. As a man, I've never come at you like this. I don't know why, right? Turns out my wife was pregnant. My wife was pregnant because she's the type of wife that the ultrasound, the pregnancy test don't work. Each one of our kids have come, doctor found at month 5, month 4 that you're pregnant. Miss it. You see what I'm saying? And so God was like telling, I was like, God, that just sounds stupid. That just sounds like I'm imposing my walk with God on her. You see what I'm saying? And so my wife turned around and said, hey, you should. Now she has to trust your walk with God. She has to trust your character.
Come on.
You see what I'm saying? And I think it's like for men, if I say, hey, y'all, hey, kids, come in the house. If I say it like that, the kids need to come in the house. Not why, daddy. I see something down the street. Something don't feel right now. This dude right here is not moving the right way. Hey, babe, come in. Babe, let's go. I need her to pack her bag and then get in the car. Like, what's up? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's my job to protect you.
That's a big difference.
And we got some crazy examples in here.
Let's hear some of them.
Whoa. Tanisha complaining about a man's erectile dysfunction. Riri says, I have in my younger days is a lack of emotional intelligence and learning to be slow to speak and quick to listen. We got Tanisha again reminding the man of his inadequacies. We got Tanisha going, Tanisha going crazy, telling the man he ain't enough. Tanisha, you toxic.
Wow.
Tanisha is really
telling
being
the
real.
man he's not enough.
No,
I get it. No, of course. No, we love Tanisha. But those are just some really honest examples. And women know that they can put themselves in position to do these things to men. Yeah. You know, so I just really wanted to give some examples because sometimes, like you said, men don't really know exactly what's happening. They just know how they feel when it's happening to them.
Yeah. Man, I got so many. I mean, I got 22 years, right? So it's like so many stories is happening as he's talking that's going through my mind. And
have you been there before?
Bruh, I have, but I also got to shout out my wife for helping me even when I didn't know I needed to be there too. So it's like,
you say you needed to be emasculated?
No. When I need to be masculine, like I didn't even know. Like for example, I see a lot of stuff that's trending on IG. If you're dating, like I told you guys a story in my episode where I talked about like I was broke. I went to Bermuda. Shout out to my bruh, and we went to a fancy restaurant. And I'm a country boy, sharecropping, landscaping. You know what I mean? Like I ain't got no bread like that for real. I'm 19 years old, wet behind the ears, green as grass, don't know nothing about nothing. We out eating sushi. I'm like, black people don't eat sushi. I'm on that energy 20 years ago.
Right.
Bill comes up. I didn't even say nothing to her. She slides the $200 worth of cash underneath the table and hit me on my knee. And while she's talking to her friend, she's making sure I pay the bill. And I'll be seeing so many chicks like, no disrespect, take this in the proper boss chick, we don't need independent. And I'll be like, for a dude that's looking to sacrifice his entire life for one woman who's precious to him, like it's certain energy, it's certain statements you can make as a woman. I instantly turn off.
Instantly.
I mean, and I think women need to understand, like men put women in categories from 0 to 5. Your statements, your wear, what you wear, how you talk about people, all of that said, no, never, not even possible, right? Just women need to know men are always watching and listening, but just to see if this could be that, and what you say and how you say it, and what you do and how you do it, when you do it, is to say you see me, you value me, you care about me. I can trust you with my life, because I'm not trying to do no deal with you. I'm either dying or I ain't even trying. So I'm only doing that with one person. And that one person got to really be like, hey, girls, there's a man here. And if you just so into like, you can talk sloppy, you can talk nasty just in public, I'm like, okay, well, that was funny. You're cute, but you're in a box with me for life.
Is that typically what it is? Is it the talk nasty? Is that what typically gets a man emasculated? Is it typically just being talked at in a nasty way? Is that what it is? I want to hear some of those things.
On average. Well, okay, so
yeah,
look,
I want to hear some of those.
JJ, we got shout out to JJ. She said, I told a man that he wasn't needed after I found out he was lying about finances. And she said that broke him. I'm curious, Jay, what you think about this? Why would a man continue to be in a relationship where he's been emasculated?
If he's a husband, because he has a commitment to that relationship and he has to work on not just a relationship, but also his wife and himself. There's something in his leadership. There's something in the household. There's something in the choice. There's something going on with her that needs to be fixed. I went through the same thing in our relationship. I didn't know how to deal with it till I went through marital counseling and got deeper in my word and started getting with just wiser men.
So Jay, it's not zero tolerance. Emasculation is not zero tolerance. You should still work through that as if you in the married.
See, you have to understand that it is zero tolerance from perspective of my standard. Like this won't fly with me. So then my next step as a man, because right, you just can't put your wife away, meaning divorce her. You just can't throw your wife away because like, oh, I'm not feeling that, like, you know. So for me, it's like you have to make your standard known, and not just verbally, but more so just in your posture, your demeanor, your leadership, but certainly make it clear. But then at that point, you have to work on you and all your leadership and leadership, that relationship with God to that point. And I've had the same kind of thing where it's like, I'm intentionally not controlling because I know that the old me was, and I know that I can be, and I know you don't like it, and I know controlling men and all that, right? So I'm intentionally not that. But when especially when you watch me get on my knees and pray every morning and pray for us, or pray in the evenings, you watch me worship, you watch me grow as a man of God, you watch me in my word, you watch me tithe, you watch me encourage you to tithe, you watch me on this track, right? Make mistakes, I'm human, all that, right? But you watch me, just look at the comps. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at men in general, and men, men, all that. You watch me make these strides as a husband, as a father, and everything else.
You said, look at the comp.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Look at the comparables. You know what I'm saying?
It was that for me.
So if you're watching me literally excel, like, you know what I'm saying, in real life, not just on paper, as a man, constantly growing, constantly challenge myself, not being a word I want to give you a chat for our group is a word called radically open-minded, or term radically open-minded.
Okay.
Well, I'm not, and I got it from Ray Dalio book Principles for business, but I treat it like that in life. It's like, I'm not closed-minded. I'm so radically open-minded that I hear you. I'm not so into being arrogant or being right or being egotistical, being controlling that I just can't hear. I don't want you to be so caught up in how you feel or what you think that you can't hear. I can hear everything and still make an independent decision based on how I feel. So my decision may not change, but I can still hear everything. So, but when it gets down to me as your husband who's sacrificing for you and for us and all those things, and I pull the husband card, which I rarely do, like I really don't want this, or I really stand on this, and it's also lined up biblically as well, and I'm really, and you can make statements or have movements that are just like the hell with what you say or contrary to what you say, like basically my leadership ain't my leadership. Like, is it my house or is it not my house? Are you my wife? Like, if it's my house, are these my kids or not my kids? So don't tell me, like, if I say, hey, you know, our daughter's not wearing 2-piece bikini bathing suits. And that's how I feel, like, based on my standard for our household, for our daughters. And you, mind you, okay, you want to have an opinion or conversation or whatever about that, we can have that. But when I make a statement, an affirmative statement, that's, and I'm not in a toxic or controlling, like, that's not my energy, but I make a standard for our family, it's a biblically backed standard, and we say that's what governs our family. Then when, as a leader and cover, head of the household, am I the head of the household or am I not?
Right.
You the head or I'm the head?
You don't know how triggering you are right now.
Because we actually had a member, Fancy Cashwell, she said that's one of them. Her example was undermining my husband's authority in front of his children.
That is a definition of masculinity.
That is the.
That's a no.
You talking about the 10 rules the 10 laws that you never do to a man? That is like top 5. That is my top 3. Like, don't have, like, that is something
in front of anyone.
Listen,
as a matter of fact.
Yeah, but I want to answer your
Right.
question too. Like, it is to his. There's the standards the same. The behavior is different when you're courting and when you're under covenant. So it's just important to know that. Like, if a man is courting a girl and a young lady and a woman, and she disrespects him and undermines him in front of his kids, she calls him out of name in public, we're done unless you come and really reconcile that situation. But it is like, to me, mentally, you're checked off the box.
Facts.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
When you're married, you marry not only the dreams, but you marry the demons. Demons don't come out till you get married.
Oh, Jesus.
So a lot of stuff.
It's the work.
You married a trophy, but you also married a trauma. So you don't see a lot of things until you get inside. And then you're like, oh, snap. I've been with you 5 years. I didn't know nothing.
She used F words around the kids.
But it's like, but it's not for you to run. It's for you to be pruned, right? It's for you to see pruning. And I tell you all, people talk about being prosperous, but they need to be talking about pruning, because pruning is still painful, but you're growing. Like you still are cutting away even things that was fruitful in your life. But in order for the new growth to come, I have to cut away even some of the old things. And a lot of things that's happening in the marriage and happening with each other is not something that there's such a huge problem. There's a pruning going on, and it's just painful. And you didn't sign up for, in your mental, emotional state, you didn't sign up for that, but you did sign up for it spiritually.
That's why I'm a proponent. My wife and I have a rule, even though I'm a therapist. We argue about the same thing 3 times, we going to therapy. Because I don't have the capacity to be going round and round in my house. I know how you feel. You know how I feel. We going to see our own therapist to resolve this. But let me just deepen it. Ladies, you don't have to listen to us as men. You don't. But there's a level where you want to never take us. Like you worried about us getting angry. That's not the place where I think we're most dangerous. When you force us to get to a point where you force us not to care.
Check out.
Because oh, you don't want to listen? Our only defense is to care less. Because if I care so much, I'm out of my element. I'm behaving in a way in which I'm not proud of, right? If you make me not care, like I had this conversation with my wife and my oldest daughter, like don't ride around on 1/4 of a tank. It get down to 1/4. I don't know that. Tell me so I can gas it up. But if I get in there and that thing's on E, we got a problem. Oh, you tripping. That's okay. I said, look.
I'm the one responsible for you.
You can run out of gas on the side of the street and then anything can happen. I'm just not gonna care when you call me. You're forcing me not to care, because otherwise I have to check the car every single day just to say if you're listening. But the worst place for you to put me is where my only defense is not to care. That's the worst place for your man to be. Because you don't listen to him.
Can I ask this question right now? Is it possible, and you're probably the best person I got to ask this, is it possible for 2 people to just genuinely not be compatible? Like, is that a possible thing? No matter how much work we put in, no matter how much therapy we go to, is it possible to not be compatible, or is compatibility just work?
I think it's a mix. I'm just gonna be. There's some. If I go back, there's some exes. All the therapy in the world wouldn't work. But part of that was me picking wrong. Sometimes you don't know. There have been times I just didn't know what was revealed. It was just wisdom. It's nothing I could have seen. All right. Other times I did pick drama. All right. Part of me, I'm kind of that crazy dude that if you are mad, there's a piece of me that gets off on that. I'm just gonna be honest. I'd rather you say something. Like I remember I had a girl in high school and I was talking to another girl. I was talking to her, but I wasn't talking to her. We were having a conversation, and she came up. She said, "Oh, this you? This you?" I said, "I was just talking to her." She said, "I'll beat this." I love that. I was like, "You want to fight for me?" You're so hood. She went to start with the cab. I said, yes. I said, yeah, I like that. But the problem was when we would argue, that same passion would come back to me. And so there was no one to settle. I needed my opposite. I needed my complement. I needed someone that would be cool in the other side of a pillow. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, we don't need to do this. Let's talk. Let's relax. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So I think so. Part of it is you do have to pick someone who's compatible, but then in marriage, you're going to have to learn skills to perfectly adjust, because you're not going to be the same people. All right. So you do have to develop skills that you kind of know your husband, know your wife.
And you grow.
So
the person you married 5 years ago, and y'all got
it's different
decades on me.
I married 5 different women, but it's the same woman.
So why do people say we've grown apart? Like
because they don't want to do the work, because you did the work and you got to keep redoing the work, and people get tired of doing the work.
Wait, so growing apart doesn't mean that you should just get a new person?
Let me speak.
Yo, Coach Crumb about to put the hands on me.
We was about to smack the shit out of you.
Please, though. Please, though. Before you calm down for a second, before you touch on that, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the chat to subscribers only. So, guys, if you haven't subscribed but you loving what you're seeing right now, you loving what you're seeing from these three kings, make sure you jump in the description. I want you to follow
Everybody
all three of these kings right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and open it up. I'm gonna change it from members only to subscribers. Let's get it. What you
Subscribe.
got?
Hey, context is everything, right? So let's establish that before I say my statement. Okay. Somebody has to be the man in a relationship. So what his point.
That's a bar. Somebody.
Right.
So to his
But
point.
we equal though. That's what they say.
We're not equal. We're not equal. Like stop. We gotta stop. This is grown people. This ain't no
Right. It's
trendy
grown
little
people.
thing,
Right.
right? This is only grown
They
people.
unsubscribing now. They unsubscribing now.
We're not women. We're not nowhere close to a woman. Woman is a powerful being that my wife had my children. Like I can't. No, we're not equal. She's different. I'm different.
It's a fact.
Period. Now, but I have a certain responsibility to it. It's not my fault, but everybody's my responsibility. So even us staying together is my responsibility. Because like his point, I get this analogy. We all men here. You ain't even got wife and kids, but the house is about to get burglarized and everybody about to get killed and robbed. Only one person can go in there and protect them. Who are you picking out of your family, out of your wife and kids? Who are you picking?
Me.
Okay. Somebody has to die in order for your wife and kids to live, but you can pick anybody. Like you can pick your wife and kids. Who are you picking?
Me.
Why we play games?
That
bruh?
role ain't equal.
Like, bro,
that goes for money coming up short.
bro,
If
like,
one of us got to do a double, who's that gonna be?
bro, who somebody got to put in extra hours and work an extra job. Just one person, but everybody's capable. It's 23. People can make money online. People do it. But who you gonna pick? Say, look, who's gonna start? Who you picking? You ain't even got. I'm not gonna ask the married men. I'm gonna ask somebody who's not even married.
It's hands down me.
Bruh, whether you're married, not married, 30, 40, 50, I don't care. Real men know exactly what I'm talking about. Bruh, I growing this part, like it's either I decide we're gonna do this work or I'm decided to check out, that I'm tired. And unless you have elders around you, where I seen what it's like to be together for 60 years. My dad is my mom for 65 years. They cussed, they fussed. He used to beat her. She stabbed him with a knife. He used to, he used to have a drinking problem. He used to have cigars, way too much smoking. I see my mama love and cry him through all that stuff. And they 85 now. So, and I heard stories prior to my 40 years. So for me, it's like
They was built different back then. I mean,
it ain't built different. It's just that we're influenced different.
I ain't talking.
We're influenced different. Everybody's
governed different.
Everybody's trying to be an individual. You finessing every conversation, you finessing every relationship to try to do you, to get yours. I'm a man, bruh. All I care about is my wife and kids straight. I'm straight. It's that simple. And a lot of dodo, a lot of goofiness and took off. It's trendy because everybody trying to be a boss, everybody trying to flex, everybody trying to stunt, and they lonely, they're broken, they're empty, and they're not fulfilled. And they ain't posting that part. They ain't telling that part. They're putting on a show. But tricks for kids, man. It's grown man energy over
It's
here.
hard. I ain't never been in a room. I don't care how affluent the room, and say, raise your hand if being a man is easy. But we don't have liberty to say, I ain't got it.
Oh yeah. Oh,
all right. Daddy my mama need an operation. We looked at the senior living situation. It's inadequate. Well, how much more is it? It's $15,000 more a year. Men are not in a position to say, well, I don't know what we're gonna do. What do men say? I'll figure it out. We don't have an idea at that time how we're gonna do it.
Or you're not considered a man.
you get emasculated by your woman if you say
No,
Well,
stop.
you're not-
That's young boy talk.
Yeah.
That's young boy talk. It's not about being emasculated by your money. You're not considered a man. No, you're not being a man. It's not considered. You're not being a man. It's your job to figure it out.
Yeah, you got it.
Facts.
And that's a lot of pressure we put on ourselves. It's a lot of pressure. So if we're gonna take that pressure, and we're not gonna go back to you and say, we'll just say don't worry about it. We'll just ask for details. How many days I have? 30. Is there a payment plan? No. They have to have it in cash. Okay. All right. I'll come back and I'll figure it out. Right. I'll give you a good example. During COVID, this is a personal example. During COVID, youngest daughter started having all these autoimmune issues. Perfectly healthy. Doctor goes in and says, I think she has lupus. I said, lupus at 6? All of a sudden, she go from dancing and singing to she got a vaccination and a flu shot the same day. She ain't been right since that day. I think it has something to do with that. All right. My wife is crying. Baby girl is hot and cold at the same time, right? No temperature. It's weird, right? And so baby girl, so I'm staying up. So I'm staying up all night for like 8 hours reading YouTube from Dr. Mark Hyman on how to deal with these autoimmune diseases that are popping up with these kids. You see what I'm saying? I'm not even sleepy at this point because I'm going to figure this out. We don't have an answer. The doctors don't know, right? And basically he was like, look, whatever it is, if you don't know what it is, just change the diet to make it anti-inflammatory. If she doesn't eat anything inflammatory, the system can't flare up. Within 5 days, baby girl was better. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That was pressure I took. I didn't ask my wife to stay with me. As a man, we're just going to have to figure it out. All right. And if we're going to do that and we sign up for that, and I think we have to see this model of manhood, right? Because we've all evolved. Like Santa Claus ain't coming to fix this. Mm-hmm. Who coming to fix baby girl? She's sitting there right there. She's looking at you. She's not looking at mommy. Can we keep it a buck? Daddy, help me. You feel what I'm saying? I got you. Right now I'm praying and God is sending me to YouTube, right? Right. And so, hey, but when I said the whole family, this is what I'm talking about. And my wife was on board, but I called a whole family meeting. I said, no one's feeding her anything that's inflammatory. I've sent you this little book. All right. And everyone was cooking it. School, no snacks. We're having the teachers having to take cereal out of her hands. Right. And so as a man, when everyone is on board, it falls on us. Yeah. So that's the pressure. Now, I don't want to scare anyone away from like marriage. I think sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves as men. We figure this out. But I think that if we're talking about real manhood, and we're all saying our women have voices, but at the end of the day, the pressure and the buck stops with us.
And unfortunately, it has felt on women. Yep. You know what I mean? What's sad about our society is so many women are feeling the pressure, are dealing the pressure, are managing all this stuff because they've been sold a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like I have deep compassion and empathy for women who don't, you know what I mean? The red pill, the blue pill, whatever pill you done took, that it made you lose the values of how we build humanity for a greater version of all of us is together. And now, and like I tell I'm grateful. When my daughter, she turns 16 next month, and we have these adult conversations about what's going on, how to do it. But I'm like, there's only one goal in the Crumpler household: 5 babies. Bro, like, everything else, you got a job? Cool. You got a car? Cool. I done did all that. To somebody who got a dope car before, they know what I'm talking about. It's the same feeling you get for Christmas. I don't care how much money you get. And if I finally got money, I'm like, I got money. The dopamine leaves, bro. The crib just becomes a crib. The car just becomes a car. Bread just becomes bread. Are you fulfilled? Like when I see my wife and kids, I'm fulfilled. We just came to a family reunion in Rockers in Mobile, Alabama, hanging with my bro. Like I'm fulfilled, just kicking it. All this other stuff, cool. It just goes and comes. I'm telling you. And so I told my daughter, the world gonna teach you, hey, be thotty and hottie. Get attention. That's the biggest drug in the world right now.
Facts.
She has a dad that loves her unconditionally. My daughter ain't even on none of that energy because I'm hugging her. Daddy, stop. I'm messing with her. But more importantly, if you ask her, what's the goal? Babies. And she said, well, I'm gonna be a virgin till I get married. And I didn't say, hey, you have to be. I just raised a certain environment. Yeah. She was like, nah, I'm waiting. He said that I don't even want a boyfriend in high school no more because they all got multiple girlfriends. Wow. They ain't mature enough for me. I'm gonna wait till I get to college. Because we got values. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I feel sorry for all the other girls because her friends get to hop in the car. The daddies are not in their life. hey, Mr. Crumpler, hey, Jada's dad. They just want to hang around me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I know what's going on, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I let all of them hang around me so they can see what it looks like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They need that.
So it ain't even on some, again, we subconscious going to that. Well, what about men and what about women? Bruh, we in this thing together.
What about us?
We in this thing together. We somebody has to stop all of this. Well, but for women, but what, bruh? We all got pitched a lie. We all got trauma. We all need grace. And somebody got to be a man. It's that simple.
And it's got to be us.
God.
Which is why we having this conversation right now.
Yeah, real quick. Let's give a couple shout outs real quick because I'm getting deep, man. Y'all are just going crazy right now.
They really are.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Wendy Nash. Wendy, welcome to the
563
club.
people in the chat right now.
500. How many?
560. In
Yo,
the
let's
chat
get
right
to
now.
600 real fast.
Let's
I want
do
y'all to
1,000,
share.
man. Let's do 1,000.
Right. You're right. Get to 1,000. Shout out to Anastasia Adams. So look, guys, we are 11 people away from our goal of 15 members. So let's get 1,000 in the room tonight, and let's get 11 more members subscribe or join the membership.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask y'all brothers this here. How, ultimately it's your jobs. I imagine you are the decision makers in your household, right? So when do you as men know when it's time to stand firm on a decision that you make in your household, or to meet halfway and to compromise on what you set out to go about, set out to want, or your decision?
I like to say more so than decision maker, because I get counsel from my wife. And some things she makes decisions on because she's better at those things. But I'm the ultimate responsible party. That's what we're trying to get across to y'all. As the man, you are responsible to God for the outcome of your family. You are the responsible party, hands down. So what you lend to her to make a decision on, whether you make a decision on, or whether you override it, however the outcome of your children, your children's children, the Bible says a man doesn't take care of his relatives, including his close, especially his close family, is worse than an infidel and a non-believer. Listen, this is the word of God telling you, I'd rather you not believe in the word of God than not take care of your family. That's how strong God feels about family. I'd rather you not believe in me than not take care of your family. You're worse than a non-believer if you don't take care of your family. And a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children or his grandchildren, aka the babies that he wants, right? That's true legacy building.
Yeah.
So just saying that to say to you, when it comes to me, it's my wife's brilliant. She's a version of me. So I want to hear all of what she has to say and all of her perspectives and lose my ego and understand my blind spots, the things I don't know well, and leverage what she brings to the table in gifts and skill sets and discernment as I make a decision for the family, or just quickly defer. Something I just say, no, bet you got it, whatever you choose. Cool, because I already know I don't even want that one. I got enough decisions to make. I don't got to be Mr. I got to make all decisions because I'm the man, me. No, you got that.
Yeah.
But then there's some things where I got to be firm on, and just based on standard or based on protection and covering for the family. Whereas like you might not see this angle, you may see that a quarter tank of gas is a small thing. You may see that a bathing suit is just everybody doing it. I see something that you don't see, and I'm accountable to your outcome.
Right.
So when it starts getting to the threatening our safety, our reputation, our alignment with God, and those kind of things is where I gotta be, a stronger steward.
Yeah, I think steward is a really good word, because I think leadership, because like the benefit of marrying me as my wife, she does what she wants to do. Like, let's be clear. Like my wife, she does her thing. I try to make sure as long as the family is heading a certain direction, like that's the benefit. Like my wife gets to do basically, because she brought these kids here. She brings money to the table. So my wife, that's the blessing. The blessing is like telling her what to do. Nah, she's my wife. She gets to do what she wants to do. And then we discuss if I have a blind spot, dark spot, or sore spot as a direction that we're going to. I go to her for guidance. I go to her for support. I go to her for perspective. But if I'm clear where we're going, I'm just going to make sure the ship is going that direction. Now, if it starts to go, I'm going to just pull it in a little bit. but it ain't for me like every day making decisions. Nah, that's not how.
I'm glad we had three brothers saying the same thing. You know, we go with the talent in the house. Who makes the decision is based on the talent. My wife is a top medical sales, right? So she works for the top company in medical sales. So who you think doing negotiations? You think that's me? My wife negotiates for money every month. You get what I'm saying? Right? Because I'll be getting emotional. I'm like, no, I'm not going to pay that. All right? My wife would just be in there, just friendly, everybody nice, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, they'd be like, how you get that deal? You robbed them. She was like, hey, just keep working. Right? All right. It's a strategy. My wife was already 9 steps ahead at the sales. Yeah, you know, you do this for a living. You do this for a living. Right. But I'm sitting there like, can we just go? Can we just split the difference? I'm just like, can we split the difference and keep it pushing? Right. And she was like, no, this is our wealth. Right. So when it comes to that, it's like it depends on the talent. It depends on the talent. Like there are times in which I'm talking to my oldest daughter, and I'm on the opposite tip. I'm like, don't you think you should date in high school? You should date in high school because I don't want her first time dating to be in college. So we on the same tip.
So context, she dates. Like I didn't tell her not to date. She's just saying because of what we were discussing. My daughter is very open to having adult conversations. She's seeing stuff in high school through course early. Yeah. And it's like, okay. And she said today or yesterday, she was like, Dad, after one day I can tell what he's on. And I'm over it.
He's mature.
It's not fair to the ladies that don't have active fathers in their life, because think about how many times we've gone to pick them up from school, dance camp, whatever, and we only looking for them. I'm not looking at the other girls. Other girls might be smarter, stronger, faster, more attractive, but I'm there looking for my daughters only. I'm not even seeing the other girls. Wow. Does that make sense? Yeah. How many times do we stop what we're doing? We could be tired. I was talking to a dad tonight, and he was flying in for town, and his daughter said, Daddy, let's play. He said, if you can give Daddy an hour, I got you. Right? We'll wake up and we'll drink an energy drink, you know, just to spend time with our kids. That's an unfair advantage that our kids and our sons, but especially our daughters have, that we're going to check for them on a regular basis. You don't have to find Dad. Dad's going to find you. Mm-hmm. Dad's going to sacrifice.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I've sat outside, and I'm sure y'all done the same thing. I've sat outside volleyball lessons for 3 hours. I'm just sitting there looking at Netflix, because by the time I get home and turn around, I'm sitting out here supporting her dreams. I'm sitting there watching dance recital, which is boring. I'm not gonna lie. It was boring dance recital. I'm just like, Lord, how I'm gonna make it through, but I'm supporting dreams. Mm. That's an unfair advantage for them to say, hey, my dad's gonna be here unconditionally. And I don't care if they come in first, last, and since the girl's off key, play the piano wrong, she's still gonna get the flowers at the end of the night, and we still gonna go out to eat.
Yeah, I've done a lot of those same things, and my situation is unique. So my wife and I, we have a daughter together, Kobe, 2 years old, but I have a 15-year-old who lives in Maryland, and a 24-year-old lives in New York. Mm. So, and most of her, she was born when I was 19, when I was in prison, my oldest daughter. And she just graduated from Wash U St. Louis a few years ago, and now works for Chanel. But through the whole course, what I learned is, even as an out-of-state dad to 2 daughters at the same time at one point, being current for all those things, making an effort, and happy to and proud to. Even when I remember money was tight, and like 2000, maybe 10, 11, whatever it might have been, and I had like $40 to my name to drive from New Jersey to Virginia with 1 full tank of gas. I didn't know I was going to sleep at, but making sure I got time for her to see my face, being there for her graduation, the middle school graduation, for the first day of school, or being even intentional these days about, like, I just got them all together. So it's hard to coordinate with all the mothers, get everybody together in one space, but making sure that my 24-year-old, 15-year-old, 2-year-old all know each other. Awesome. Man. And getting them together for the family trips. Even if I got to bait them, hey, I got a yacht down Tampa, y'all want to come? Or we got to go to Disney World, or, we just going to go to the ranches that we're going to stay in, or whatever that is. But I just say all that to say that family environments could be different as fathers, and you lose a little bit of that. So I have some of that. So I can't have the influence I want in each of their households. So all I can do is give them my influence while they're with me. So my daughter her mom may have a different standard for what she eats or what she wears or whatever the case is. We went to the gym together. My daughter's working out now. We went to the gym, and she came downstairs like, what we doing with that? Like, the shorts were so short. I'm like, you're not going to the gym with me like that. Wow. Like, yo, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to do that. I was saying, baby, I don't want to just say it to be a tyrant, to be a dictator, just be like big bad daddy. But I want you to understand that the less you wear, the more men look.
Facts.
The the less you wear, the more boys look, but the less you wear, in some cases, grown men look.
Right.
And we don't want that attention. So that's why I'm saying that. I ain't saying it to be a dictator or this overly patriarch and none of that. I'm doing it to protect you and to prevent conversations or prevent predators or prevent, certain kind of things. So, but again, we have different households, different standards, but the whole point is that I take all of my responsibilities too. So it's always our responsibility to the best of my ability. But if it's your wife, right, you are what you are to her, but she has to be who she is to you. Same with your children. If you're my child, and I'm your father, I'm your covering, then you got to be as my child. Like we all got. This is my point. It's not about daughter, wife, husband. It's about the office of husband, the office of daughter, the office of son, the office of wife. We all got a particular office in a particular role. And many of our women have had to play the office of husband for so many years and then watch their moms play the office of husband. So when a man comes in to play a true office of husband, it's a conflict of interest from all of what they know. And then children want to almost play the office of parent. Like your children get the same equal say so as the parent does. You play the office of child, and that means also sometimes there's duty in family. When you talk about legacy building, there's duty. So to this point where his daughter, I peeped everything you said. He's like, my happiness is babies. But the duty of my daughter is to give me grandchildren. The duty of my son is to extend my legacy. It's not about, oh, well, Dad, I don't really want no kids. Bro, you don't have no choice to have kids.
Wow.
It's your duty to have kids. You know why? Because I didn't have a choice but to raise you, take care of you, protect you, put you in basketball, volleyball, track, the extra after school care and everything else, because that was my duty. I didn't want to particularly. So there's things as a man you don't want to do, but it's my duty to do it. As a woman, many women get into this fuss online about submission and obeying and the different things of being a helpmate, a helper. But it's an ecosystem that God gave us that's perfect and beautiful when we all play our roles and do our duties in the right way. But sons and daughters, I've watched this even with my own daughter. I asked her something, although I helped, build. Listen, you know what I sacrificed to get her to wash you. That the college is not cheap. And I sacrificed.
I would rise and senior, fam. Right, go ahead.
And so I sacrificed so much in so many ways. And I asked her to do something. She was like, well, Daddy, that doesn't feel good to me. I don't want this to feel good to me. And I let it slide and let it go because she wasn't 100% brought up in my household. And so this is a new energy of me that she wasn't brought up in it. So I give her grace. And hopefully just through my example, we merge and meet somewhere. But as truly as children, and as truly your daddy, as truly your father, same thing, you pull that husband card or that father card, and you pull that card, you have a duty to what you don't like and what feels good to you. So many things that we do for our families and for our wives and for our children that don't necessarily feel good to us, but we do them out of duty.
Yeah.
But it gets lost sometimes with our wives or with our children that they don't have the same sense of duty or responsibility to their role. And they should be proud and happy to be our helper, happy to be that piece, happy to want to figure out what is it that my husband likes the most. And I want to bring that to the table ASAP before he even asks, because I want to be the best in my role. What is it that my daddy wants as a child that will make him happy? I want to be the most of that. And that's the kind of way we bridge family again and really get past the social media age or whatever the last 20 years has been of crack epidemic and mass incarceration epidemic of family. That ain't really family.
I'm curious. Ladies, let me know what y'all think of what Jay is saying right now, because we dropped a poll and we got over 165 votes on the poll. Thoughts: are men and women equal? And 77% of people said no. But I'm curious to what you think about what Jay is saying. Ladies, just yes or no. Go ahead and drop, especially my members, go ahead and drop a yes or no if you actually have a desire to be a helpmate in your relationship.
And I want to put a commercial for the fathers before we move on to the helpmate of relationship, because now we got data. The census has come out twice over the past 10 years.
Come on now.
That now we know. Talk about feelings, talk about opinions, but now we know a father raising children is just as effective as both parents raising children.
Wow.
But a mother raising the children by herself, the issues goes times 3, 4, 5, and 6 to drugs, performance. Like it's so many things. So now we know. It's not even like we got to make having that father in that home secures so much for that child's future. So if you're in a position, mother, or any way to have that father in their life, take advantage of that opportunity for that child's sake. Now, I know there's be some unhealthy men, there's some unresolved trauma, but in our culture, especially, I'm just going to go there, in the Black culture, a lot of my brothers are fighting just to see their children, just to get a chance to come by their children. And somebody has to be the mature person to say what is best for the child. But here's the cool thing, we already know. Having that father in their life is one of the best things you could ever do for that child. So do everything we possibly can as a community to have that father involved.
Yeah, long as the man's not toxic, because what we found is that it's not divorce doesn't stress children out. It's the conflict. So you can be in the home and see conflict, and that stresses the kids. If you divorce and there's less conflict, the kids are going to be fine, right? And so sometimes mothers will feel pressure. And you said you gave a caveat for men who are unhealthy.
Context
right?
matters,
right? And so, but there's some women that feel forced to just have him around a man, but he's going to pick up on that man's toxic ways. You're going to actually raise him in the wrong direction. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
All right. So it's important.
And as an adopted person, like, it don't have to be the biological father. Like my dad's my superhero, and he adopted me in his 40s. So it's important to say that part as well.
Yeah, I mean, so when we start thinking about like family, one thing we haven't talked about is how we have to change for our kids. All right. So I also have older daughter, and my cousins who were also from Alabama. You said Mobile. I don't know if that's where y'all had your family.
Yeah, we did. It was in Mobile.
Yeah, my family's from Tuskegee. So these country boys, and they were like, "Hey, Alvin, it's gonna be a point you're gonna have to be." My oldest daughter named Raquel. We call her Ray's friend. And I was like, "Friend? I'm not gonna be her friend." He's like, "All right, fam, let me know how that worked out for you." And I started saying, "Look, you can't dress like that." And she's 15. She's like, "How you gonna tell me how to dress?" Right. And it wasn't skimpy. It was just style. Right. We went to different. I went to black school. All right. I went to school with Tyshawn. Right. Yeah. And she goes to mixed school. I was like, you can't wear the same Air Force Ones. Oh, you gotta mix up. You gotta get some Jordans. You gotta mix. I'm trying not to say, why you gotta dress that baggy every day, right? That's their culture.
That's my daughter on right now. She was baggy with the dirty sneakers.
So she was like, so what are you? And I go and the whole school's dressed like that, right? And I'm like, damn, maybe I'm out of context, right? Maybe I'm out of pocket.
You are.
I'm out of yeah, but I'm like, this.
You have your moment, man.
Thank you, man. And it was probably one of our worst moments. She was like, Dad, you're doing the most. Like, you really trying to tell me at 16 how to dress? You really think you think Dr. Tartt know how to tell me how to dress at 16? You gonna be a stylist? What you on, fashionista? She was going in, right? And but what I learned was how to have conversation. I was like, how you show up to the world is how they treat you, right? And I said, now they can get away with that, but I said, my preference and our style for our family, we kind of dress to the nines. You can bum it down, but everything need to match. Everything need to match. So I was talking to her, and so what I realized was that I had to she started listening to me when I started hanging out and having dates and not being given directives. There's gonna be a point where directives just fall on her, like your worst nightmare will fall. Where she's not. Have you ever talked to your daughter and you could tell they're not listening? Yeah. Like you talking, but they're not listening. So I had to adapt to hanging out and building a relationship and actually waiting on her to now come. Now she puts stuff in the basket. Dad, I know you like this. Dad, I know this right here. And I'll go through and I'll approve. Oh, here, this stuff you wear. I like these little leggings. All right. And she does have to wear the jacket, around the back. Right. Yeah. All right. So I had to learn to build relationship, and I had to come out of lectures because I found out it was falling on deaf ears.
So let me ask the fellas.
Wait, hold tight. Because we got over 500 people in the chat, but we only got 100, almost 200 likes. So guys, we got to get at least 500 likes. And I want to give a shout out real quick. Shout out to Kat Harlan for joining the membership, and shout out to our current member, the original J-Lo? Is that J-Lo? Because she said, she just told us to, or he or she just remind y'all to hit the like button. So please, if you appreciate these three kings on stage right now, hit that like button.
That's
ASAP.
an
And
easy
if y'all have
easy.
any questions, by the way, send those super chats in because we about to start getting to the Q&A section. So go ahead, get your Q&A, your super chats rolled in so we could go ahead and take y'all questions.
And
but I
join
want to
the membership because support the channel.
Yeah,
support
facts.
the channel. I don't think y'all understand how hard it is for us to really put on the show every Monday and Wednesday and have these caliber of men.
Facts.
Salute
These
to you
caliber
guys.
of men charge a lot of money to give this kind of game.
Dude.
So for them to sit down for like 2, we tell them 2, but it's really 3 hours.
We
It's
tricked
really 3 hours.
Where's the snacks?
Hey, so I want to ask the fellas this because we got into a really good, especially in the conversation of conflict. We can't avoid this. Last episode, we got into a good conversation about apologizing because I came clean and I came to the audience and Coach Ken, who was on the platform, and I told him that it's kind of known in, in the scrolls of players that we don't apologize. You don't say sorry to your lady. Now, obviously, if you're having a healthy long-term relationship, that's not a sustainable strategy with your woman.
1 year. You want to last 1 year.
Which I get. We talked about this. So I want to know, guys, when it comes to apologizing, how does it work? Because I know a lot of guys apologize out of spite just to end a fight. You just apologize. But what's the rules to properly apologizing to your lady? Do you literally just give in at times and apologize even when you know and truly feel you are not wrong as a man? Or apologies only given when you feel like they genuinely are deserved?
I think that we grew up in such a player culture. You know what I'm saying? Just from Biggie Smalls to Eazy-E to just all the way up. I just remember being on the middle school bus listening to Snoop Dogg when his first album dropped and just how we talked about women and being players and treating them like we don't need them and just that whole thing that really when it's like it's not a finesse. When you're really trying to legacy build, you're really trying to find somebody that's your person and somebody you got to think about it. As a man, all right, let's go single man real quick. One of your aspirations should be to see a mini you, to see you duplicated in the world.
Facts.
To see your name carry on, your legacy, your lineage carry on. In order to do that, you got to procreate.
Yep.
Now, you could do that with a random schmandom, and then and then you don't have no control of how your mini you is grown to what environment they grew in, right? So if you just have a girlfriend or a one night, or she's got a nice BBL or whatever, and you go sow your seed, you now have no control on the outcome of mini you.
Right.
And the future generations of mini you. Like you could literally create you in the future for 400 years. So it's imperative, like you choose that. That's why I chose my wife. I chose my wife because she looks good, has a great career and all that. But I was like, no, she's a good woman to raise my kids.
Yeah.
That's why I chose her. Bro, I had all Atlanta, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Respect on his name.
Listen. It's cops. Look at the cops.
Yo, we actually got a question come in.
I want him to finish this though, because like bringing it back to apologizing though.
Yes.
Like bring me back to the rules of that. Like
so what I'm saying is that as a real man, it's not the finesse of like being right or like trying to play some ego mind, iceberg slim game on her and all of that. It's like I'm radically truthful, radically transparent. I want to grow. I want me to be better. So if there's something that went on that I didn't handle it right because I raised my voice, or I know I popped slick, or I know I was outside my bounds, my guidelines of being a good husband and being a good leader, or just was wrong about whatever it was, it's like, I don't care about, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is my woman, bro. She's raising my kids. Like she's my partner. She's my household. So I don't have to play those games because it's us.
what if you feel like you were not wrong?
Then I'm not apologizing.
Okay.
If I wasn't wrong, we can still talk about it. I can still make principles, still whatever. I'm not apologizing for the sake of quote unquote keeping peace if I'm right in my standard, unless it's something that doesn't even matter. if it's something so small that it doesn't even matter for the standard and outcome of our family, it's like, okay, baby, like you got it, right? Just to move on to bigger things. Like if we're just caught up in emotion or just the pride or ego for a moment.
Okay.
But if it's something that I have a true standard about and I just handled it wrong, or maybe I spoke firmly to her. Sometimes I might speak firmly to my wife and she feels like that's me being a dictator or something. It's like, no, sometimes I have to make a firm stance. So you understand that this is
how it's gonna roll.
This is one of those ones.
Got
and
it.
she might come back later on and be like, you know, she go with it.
I got you.
I think you have to. I'm laughing. I did the same thing on Saturday. Oldest son, only son. He'll be 2 in December. My wife, I told you, just got this new job, right? So she's traveling, and I said, "Baby, you gotta stop breastfeeding. You gotta stop breastfeeding because you be jacking the rest of us up when you leave. You be crying all the time. I ain't got no ninnies. You get no milk. You gotta let it go. All right. Now, if you want to pump and leave it, that's cool, but don't leave me without no breast milk when you're going out of town for a week. I'm already holding it down." Right. And she was walking around the house and I caught her breastfeeding him.
Oh,
Right. And so
how did it go?
Right. So we were on the way to the YMCA for swimming lessons. Right. Youngest daughter's in the back.
More dad work.
All right. Oldest daughter's at volleyball practice. And so Christian's in the back. And I said, "Babe, you know," I turned the radio up. I said, "Babe, I thought we talked about no breastfeeding." All right. And she was like, "You don't know how hard it is." I said, "Be that as it may, you don't know how hard it is when you go out of town. When I have to put this boy down 3 or 4 times and then I'm sleepy. He's waking up 3 times a night. Just because he don't need it, just because he think you're there for the breast milk." And so she said, "Well, you know, I read a study." I read a study that said it's good for the baby's health. I said, "You talking to the wrong one." All right. I said emotion. I said, "This is what men talk about when the boy's still on the ninny." All right. Now you were talking all this stuff about Dwight Howard's son crying on the Peloton. He was crying. He was trying to work him out. Right. And you said, "You don't want our son to be that way." I'm trying to tell you it's time. I said, so don't take this the wrong way. When you're not around, he doesn't do this. All right. When you leave and he knows you're gone. We were at the park. And he was jumping off the slides. He doesn't know that he's going to die if he just jump off the slide, right? I'm catching and whatnot. She comes, he fall all the way on the floor, rolling around. Milk. All right. So anyway, so I said, "Listen, babe, I've let this go for like 2 months. You're about to go out of town. I'm asking you, we had 3 or 4 days. I'm asking you strongly to just stop doing it. All right." My mom said something. Your mom said something. Right. I said, "Listen to them. If you could just chill, I'd appreciate it." And my wife was there. I said, babe, you know how when you don't listen to me and I've said it 3 times and then the 4th time I say it rough and then you say, "You said it rough. I feel like you deserve that." I tried to say it all the nice ways. And the 4th time I had to say it, I shouldn't get mad. Now, I'm telling you right now in the car, if you could just consider not doing it like you agreed, I'd appreciate it.
That's good communication.
She didn't say nothing. She didn't say nothing the whole time of swimming. "Hey, babe, hand me a towel. Babe, hand me a towel." She didn't say nothing. But when we got home, when he reached for that ninny, she refused him. To me, that was loyalty. To me, that was showing partnership. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right? Because she was doing for the team. But what she doesn't know is that she got some points from me. For listening, there's going to be some things I'm flexing on. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that, I don't know what that looked like on social media, but there are times in which you just need your wife to listen. But to the point really quickly is that when you do apologize, because I've also been wrong. I've been dead wrong. I've been dead wrong on some things. And so as a man with leadership, you have to apologize to the same intensity of the offense. So I can't just say I'm sorry. I went in for 8 minutes on why you not this, why you not that. I gotta apologize. "Hey, babe, that wasn't even you. When I came in, I was moody. I'm Pisces, like your wife. I was just moody. All right. I'm gonna be honest. It was juvenile. I was mad the Hawks lost. I'm just gonna be juvenile. I was a little upset the Hawks lost. And then when you say this,
upset a lot.
and then he set me up. So I just want to let you know that was more about my mood than anything you did. And I want to apologize.
So I get you apologize. Are you also apologizing just to keep the peace?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Depending on what it is.
Because to me, it's like, is this worth it? Do I even, like Jay said, do I even care? All right. If If I could finesse this thing to keep it moving, hey man, you know
Yeah,
what? That was on
sorry.
me. Let's just keep it 100, keep it moving. But the things that I stand on, you know, I stand on. And that's why I think my wife, and I'll say allow. I think my wife allows me to have voice because I don't stand tall on very many things. There's a lot of flexibility. Does that make sense? Like I wanted him to stop breastfeeding a long time ago, but we way late in the game.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, it's finding the middle ground. I just want peace.
So I got a question for you, Crom, because we got an audience member that needs some help. But real quick, shout out to Anastasia Adams. Shout out to the new member for sending over her first super chat. We appreciate you. Yeah. And shout out to Beautiful Comeback for joining the membership. We're on the road, guys. We got about 8 more people left, and we hit our goal for the night. But real quick, we got a super chat. Shout out to King. King is one of our fellas that holds it very
shout out to
down,
King, man.
Very strong in the chat. King asks, and this is specifically for you, Coach Crom, has Western / Eurocentric practices destroyed the Black family? Have we adopted their culture instead of living by the word of God? What's your honest opinion on that?
I think the subconscious nature of all of us are influenced by westernized ways. You know what I mean? That's just the bottom line. That's why I say what I say about my house. You know what I mean? Like I'm very intentional. Success is not an accident. Success is intentional. But I also accept the influences that everybody has. My wife, me, my children. Like I accept the fact that we have been influenced. I had to do the hard work on myself and it helped me better see my wife's humanity, what she's been influenced by, right, from her family. So it wasn't in alignment where we wanted to go. We had to both accept that, right? And so for me, what I've learned is saying something and doing something doesn't change anything. Showing up every single day the way it's supposed to be over time changes. Like, so I would, in my mind, I'm saying I said something. I would say, well, I achieved something. So everything should change. That's not life. That's not real life. And so what I've adopted the past 10 years, my first 10 years was a lot of resentment in my heart. But the last 10 years, I've accepted the humanity of people, how stuff takes time. And I can't, now I want everything that I want from a family perspective, from a spiritual perspective, I would love to have a transaction on it. I said it, you give it. Perfect. That's not life. So I say what I say, I mean what I mean, I live what I live, but I gotta live it out long enough so everybody catches it.
Bars.
And based on the person's dynamics of personality, trauma, and influence, I slowly weed me in so much that it becomes part of their subconscious nature, right? And so I wanted my wife to be more one accord of me on certain things 20 years ago, but we just got there 2 years ago. But I was willing to wait 20 years. Shout out to her brother, right? She said something to me 20 years ago. She said, you will never have the influence that my brother and my dad had because, you know, they've been my whole life. I said, okay, after 20 years, I'll be the number one man that's influenced you because I will put more time in than any man in your entire life. So I was running a 20-year play on my wife for just her subconscious trust. Because I told my daughter this, right? She's the firstborn in our family. Your daddy's going to be the breaker, but you're going to be the builder. So I have to break a lot of dysfunction in both of our families to unify them, to lay a foundation so you can build on them. It may take daddy 20 to 30 years, but you're going to have a solid foot to stand on. We don't have enough conversation about what is your 20-year plan, what is your 30-year plan when you get in a relationship. It's like, well, what about my thing right now? This is not about, us getting together is not about a thing right now. Us getting together is about building a family forever. So, you know what I mean? And and what hurts us is that we don't have enough conversation. Dr. Eric Thomas, he's my mentor. He said something one time at the Advantage program at Michigan State University. They had a freshman class, and it was a freshman, a lot of kids from all over the world. And so to help the kids embrace different kids from different cultures, everybody kind of had to, and they give their name, where they're from, and why they're here. And so they go around, it's all type of cultures, all type of kids talking. And then one kid stands up, he's from Asia, and he says, I'm 18 years old. I can't remember the part of Asia he was from, but he says, I'm here to build my dynasty. So he was like, listen, you're in the Western world. we don't talk like that at 18. Explain to the other kids what it means for you to build a dynasty. It was like, well, my ancestor fathers, they built a dynasty in China the first 1,000 years. My job is to come to help build a dynasty for the next 1,000 years in America. So like, you got people coming in 18, like understanding, like, I know exactly the play I'm running. My emotions is not guarding any of this thing, who I decide to do with. So we're trying to get on still. We're still trying to be popping. And so I try to make sure that, hey, Jada, because of my trauma, because of my dysfunction, it's a lot of stuff I got to break in me and break in we, but it's going to be such a solid foundation for you to land on top of, for you to build on top of that. And I just think us having these conversations help us understand, like, what play are you running that's your 20-year play, your 30-year play? You know what I mean? Those are the plays you got to be running now.
So, Jay, I want to get back to you in just a second about that helpmate, because the chat was really going crazy. We was talking about the helpmate. But real quick, shout out to Jennifer Wells for sending in her super chat. Jennifer, we appreciate you. Jen, get that profile pick up too, because the production got to look good. We got to have that beautiful profile pick up. So get that uploaded to YouTube. And shout out to Shanae Randall. And fortunately, because all these men are married, but fortunately, we got a doctor on staff tonight to answer this question. So this is Dr. Tartt. I know you're going to knock this one out the park. This is very specific. This is right up your alley, because we got Shanae Randall, who says, unfortunately, I'm single again at 53. Okay. It's really hard at this specific age to date because times have really changed. Please give me some advice. So Dr. Tartt, I want you to hook her and all of the 50-plus-year-olds with some sound advice, some sound counsel tonight. But first, I want you to give us your outlook on the mindset and just the state of being that a 50-year-old single woman might be in. Like, what kind of condition? What's going on in her life right now? I
definitely want my brothers to jump on this because we think differently about dating.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So a woman who is 53 actually has a higher chance of getting married because any man that she's talking to probably going to settle down. It's harder in like the 20s or teens. All right. And so you see, I officiate a lot of weddings. It's a lot of older couples. So one part of that's mindset. Anything God has for you, he has for you. Let's also do the practical piece. There are a lot of men out there we won't settle. We will not settle. We'll stay single until we find the one. Right. But once we find the one, if she's 53, and she looks good, because men do want to be attracted, and she's able to champion the dream, and she's able to have a conversation and talk to that man about his dreams and ambitions, she should have some prospects, right? So when you look at the U.S. Census data, which you quoted, the marriage gap starts to skew in women's favor. So you start looking older. I think it's maybe 70-some% of African-American women are married by the time 65. Because one, there's guys that have been married and remarried, right? And then a lot of guys begin to settle down. But here's the interesting point. That's why I laugh. I know y'all were queuing me up. When we turn 40, our primary care physician talks to us and says, are you getting married? What are your marital plans? Because they know that married men actually live longer. Married men are happier, healthier, and wealthier, right? So we're happier because we have a soulmate to do this life with, all right? We are wealthier because usually it's two people that come together, or at least some type of one can hold it down while the other one's going out there and hold the family down. But we're healthier because our wives make us go to the doctor. Our wives change our diets. Our wives make us change our habits so we live longer, right? So men who are older marry for longevity. Men marry because they don't want to do things alone. Like they've done with the player years. They're just looking to settle down. So she's 53.
53.
I didn't know how social she is. Is she on social media? Is she y'all might have a different opinion. Is she sliding in a man's D? Because we're kind of dumb.
Ladies,
right? If you
ladies,
go in there,
I
you
want
just
y'all
like
to
my
answer this
comment, we
question.
don't look at the profile picture. Right?
Because we Crump, I want you to tag in on this one too. Guys, let us get some more likes. Let's get to 500 likes ASAP, because we got ladies. Mary Madeline, she says, I'm 56, never married. We got another young lady says, thank goodness this one is for me because I'm 50 plus. So Crump, I mean, what you got?
Yeah, and I have a friend that was in the mid 40s, because I don't want to put the age, but like she said something to me that really like made me frustrated. Just be careful that you didn't get caught up on the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? Ministry. Like she found a good man, and then was like, confessing to my wife, cause we, 22 years, everybody's calling us in the middle of the night crying, helping with something, right? It just comes with the territory. But I was so first because she's been waiting so long to get a man, mid to late 40s. Got a man's like, he has a problem with me, with my guy friends.
Come on.
What's your name?
I said, you've been waiting all this time to get a man. And now you mad that he don't like the fact that you got other men you just associating yourself with as part of your
using those other men for emotional support that she really wants to get from the one man that she found.
And the fact that she couldn't even see it at that age blew my mind. And I was like, the Instagram algorithm got her. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, and then, talking about the double standard ministry. And I was like, sis, we grown. Like, we're fully grown. Like, if you finally get a man, by rest of y'all, like, we going to do what we do. And whatever he needs to make, just not to be out with other men or talking to multiple men. Like, that's not even a conversation piece. Right. So for me, like, I don't know everybody's status who's 53 and 58 and 51 and 48, but just know, to his point, is gonna come. Just make sure you're really ready to receive a man at that age and stage who ain't trying to play no games. You meet a man in your 50s and your 40s, there's no games he's trying to play, like not even a slightest. So you just be prepared to be like, I'm ready for the shutdown ministry as soon as we pull into that space. Because if you want something like, you still be on the Instagram ministry, it's like
you ain't ready.
You ain't.
Hey, listen.
Jay,
he gonna pull up on you like Jay pulled up on his wife. Jay, how long did it take from the point of meeting your wife to proposal? How long was it?
Hey, 6 months.
Woo!
Hey,
Jay won't play no games.
No.
How long did it take each one of you to know she was your wife? At least wife potential. How long?
Oh, weeks.
Oh yeah, that was early.
I proposed almost 5 years later, but a woman, you can know in a matter, like if she's wifey material, like every woman's not wife, no disrespect. From a man's perspective, when we in the marketplace, every woman's not in the stage of being a wife. But my wife was like, you see the potential in there. Yeah, you could tell one time. It was just, I'm like, well, I'm not ready. Right. But she was ready.
Right.
So Jay, because you in the church, Jay.
Yes, sir.
And you invited us out to Bible study. It was just about a month back.
Thanks.
And it was a lot of single ladies. And it was a lot of single ladies that were probably close to 50 or 50 plus.
On a Wednesday night.
They in church now. So Jay, just your perspective. I just want to get your perspective about women that are 50 plus. Do you think that they're in the space to qualify for marriage, so to speak? Or like, what do you think might be some of their biggest issues?
100%. I think they deserve a covering too. And I think probably most of the issues is what men in their age and our previous generations, where they've been and what they've been doing. Many of them have been running from God. Many of them have been running the streets. Many of them have been running, chasing money and other things. And so I think it left a demographic of our women, without covering and without someone that was serious about God, serious about legacy. All them Rolling Stones, all that Papa was a Rolling Stone energy. You know what I mean? So we have so many Rolling Stones, and I think that's just like something that we've accepted because we just have to be reprogrammed. Kind of back to the original question about Western influences and all that. It's like we have to be reprogrammed for us. Like, what are you doing this for? Like, are you doing this for fun or the thrill of sex? Are you doing this for actual family and legacy? Like what are we doing this for? And that's literally what led to me being engaged so soon. It wasn't so much even being like swept off my feet, although I had a great woman, but I've met a lot of great women. But I found myself new to Atlanta, moving from New Jersey in my mid-30s. And I've been having sex since I was in high school, like middle school, really. Like, you know what I mean? It's like how much dating and how much sex and how many girlfriends. You know what I mean? I went through these routes of playerism and bachelorism, and it's just kind of like when I got to Atlanta, it was so much. It was like, yo, Like, bro, I'm gonna end up catching something or I'm gonna have some more babies. And I didn't want more out-of-state babies. Like I literally took my duty as a father serious, and I already raised 2 daughters out of state. And I'm like, if I just play around here in Atlanta, I know my outcome.
Yeah.
So I need to do something different. And so I literally wasn't, I still was having my fun, but with the open mind to catch something that was worthy to be caught. And so when I found my wife and she was aligned with my mission and my calling, and just had very high standards and high quality, and just presented those things to me, that's when I started dating her with intentionality. It's like I literally was on a legacy hunt, because it's like I was about to turn 40 and I knew I wanted a legacy. I can't have a legacy with randoms. I can't have a legacy with one night stands. I can't have so like,
how old were you at that point? Just curious.
Probably 36.
36. That's consistent with the philosophy that you gave. We actually did a episode that's coming out very soon with Dr. Tartt, talked about the different cycles and the phases of men and women in their lives and how the mindset switch. Was it around that age where like something like a flip switch where you said, okay, it's time, I'm ready now for this commitment?
I don't think I looked at it so much. Or I guess I understood that the commitment was even so much the relationship as it was so family and building a family and legacy and my lifestyle. The commitment in the relationship is a part of how you get there. So it was like, okay, I can't run around the country teaching corner classes on different inner city corners and being financial literacy pioneer and all these kind of things, talk about legacy, and I don't got family. How you got legacy without family? How do you have generational wealth without having a generation to pass it to? You know
Facts.
what I'm saying?
Facts.
So you could do all the playerism and all things that feel good for instant gratification, our ego, and the clubs and the sections and the strip clubs, and doing all those things. At the end of the day, I still don't have heirs that are taught and brought up under my household and my culture to be able to pass it to. So you got to get really intentional about your dating is really mating. And it's really, you know what I mean? So it's, so it was a combination of that and just, it's even self-interest. It's like, even like you said, wealth and health and just getting money. It's like, how much having sex you gonna have out there with different women, and you're not strapping up every time. Keep it real,
Yeah.
Right.
It happens. Right.
Yeah, you gonna catch us something, bro.
Right.
Sex get empty. Like I see a lot of guys.
Bring that mic closer, Dr. Tartt.
Yeah, it's a lot of guys. They have access to women, but the biggest complaint is that the sex is empty. We had sex, but it didn't fulfill me. Right? It wasn't like people think it's a lie, but married people actually have higher marital satisfaction when it comes to sex. Higher sexual satisfaction. As you making love, y'all have history. Does that make sense? And so what happens is, as brothers get older, we look at Crump and say, I like that family picture. Like, guys don't ever say it, but the guys that have come into my office, if I asked them what broke them down and changed, do you know what it was? It's one single thing. It's the pajama picture on Christmas that breaks them down. They're like, yo, I want that. As corny as it is, and we probably have all done it, right? I know you don't celebrate that, but I want the picture of family. I want the picture of either a family being blended, or I want that family where you actually have people coming into your house. You have rituals. Because think about it, as we get older, where are we? At the football field, at volleyball, at PTA meetings, at college. We talking about the college piece, sitting in meetings, like, how much is this? Good God Almighty, right? Right? And trying to figure it out. So men secretly want that. Now, not all men. Not all men. Not all men want to be married, and that's okay. All right. But there are a lot of men. I'm gonna defer. There are a lot of men out there who actually want that. They just want the skills to be able to succeed. And there's a category you didn't talk about. There are a lot of men out there who've been hurt that say, I'm not going to revisit that.
Right. Yeah, I argue debate that every man doesn't want to be married. They don't want the version of what they've seen.
Oh, you think every man at his deepest core wants to get married?
Yeah, it's part of the human.
Look at Ryan's eyes, boy.
That's polarizing.
Because if you see these comments and the way people talking about marriage online,
because they're seeing a version they don't like. They're seeing a version that's dysfunctional. They're seeing a version that's painful and hurtful. But if you tell any human being you can get with your mate and y'all can make love and make children and make family forever. And y'all are partners for life till the day you die. No person doesn't want that. They just scared that if they make a commitment like that, that it's not going to be like that, that they're going to get hurt, that they're going to be abused, that they're going to be neglected, that they're going to be trapped, right? That's what they don't want. But that's unfortunately so much of what is being put out there, portrayed, and pitched as a narrative, so that people make a subconscious belief system of like, because I fear the pain, because I fear that it may go left, because I fear that I may be trapped, I don't want marriage.
Or I can't succeed at it. There are a lot of men like, look, I'm gonna do her a favor. All right, I know me. I know what I want.
But here's the thing about men. A lot, like my wife has helped me so much. Like, if you just be honest about, hey, look, I need to get my rocks off. I need to do whatever. I need to get, like, there's a woman that really wants your heart to be at peace. And like, even whether it be sexual desires, financial desires, ambitious desire, whatever it is, like, women are different ride or die beasts that like, and especially when it comes to my wife, like, I can't explain, like, I am who I am because she's coached me for 22 years in this space. Like, I would be trying to be like, and I can't explain it. Besides, like, I just honored the commitment, and I had a dope wife who just kind of like helped me mature, helped me figure things out, helped me get over myself, helped me deal with pride, helped me deal with ego. And as I'm covering her, she was covering me too, right? And we both made mistakes. We both hurt each other deeply. We both disappointed each other deeply. We both celebrated each other deeply. We both like did good, bad, and different things for each other and to each other, but we stuck together. And now this is what you're seeing after that. You're seeing the residue after that. So when I'm looking back, reverse engineering my 22 years, I'm just seeing where people are in different spots, pre, during, post. I'm just, okay, that's where you are. But trust me, like, stick it out.
It's all an investment.
You know what I mean? Like, and we're not sitting at a table like this where women can be there, men could be there, and we're having honest conversations about, bro, if you think a woman having your back to the day you die is going to be a detriment to you at any level, like, somebody sold you a lie. That's just the facts.
We're gonna flip it on y'all with permission.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, before you flip it on us, real quick, shout out to one of my favorite ladies that's a member of the channel. Shout out to Fancy. She says, the happier she is, the nastier she is. I can attest to that, Fancy. I think that's a fact. Look at Dr. Tartt. He looking like, yeah, I'm making my wife happy tonight. What you got, Dr. Tartt?
I mean, that's a real conversation. I mean, this is a side that I'm gonna ask y'all with permission. Now, how y'all feel? Being single, because every guy has his own journey. But I know we're talking about what a wife's gonna make you better, right? Like, a lot of times guys, I think, feel like they have to prepare so much, but a wife is gonna help you to get there. But the second thing, I'm not gonna get in trouble because my wife knows me, right? That was a disclaimer, by the way. There's a caveat, right? When we first got married, my wife said, why didn't we have sex last night? I said, what you mean? She said, I initiated. I said, how? She said, I hugged you from the back. I said, that's why I scoot over, because I thought you wanted to snuggle. I'm sleepy, right? And she says, well, way I was raised, a woman doesn't
she went big spoon.
Really initiate. I said, it's not gonna work for me. All right, it's not gonna work because I'm used to women really initiating, right? Like, I might be at a 2 in the way you initiate. I'm ready now, right? So we had to have a real conversation about what initiation was.
He was hardly initiated.
But going to a real talk though, women gotta know a dude has to bust a nut. Like that's important. Like you can, and here's the thing: you talking about all of these black markets. A man, each one of us can find somewhere to go bust a nut in an hour from now.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
A woman can't do that, but a woman don't even have that type of, you know what I'm saying? But dudes just like, yo, I gotta go, I got a spot, I got a girl, I got a whatever. That's how it is. But the conversation with my wife is be like, listen, there's certain parts you touch that lets me know because I'm always ready. Like it's never really like, hey, do you gotta warm me up? Do you gotta like did we wake up? We woke up already. Like it's really simple for me. But you need to help me communicate. Hey, you touch a certain body part, I already know what time it is. But that's easy communication for me.
Facts.
Now, if they're not touching that body part, it's like, well, let me touch this body part. Let me say this word. Let me try to figure out. But like, you can make this real easy. You know what I mean?
Instructions.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can make this real easy.
Hey, y'all send these super chats, and I want y'all to get involved in this conversation because I see these questions.
This for married. This part was for married people. This was for married.
I want to feel desired too.
That was for married people.
No fornication.
Shout out
for you
to Larry
singles.
Love 82. Larry, first off, love is in his DNA. He literally got it in his last name.
Facts.
He says, I would love to be married, but I'm scared of divorce. Plus, I'm doing so good by myself. Relationships can be a distraction sometimes, whether the relationship is good or bad. Jay, what's your take on that?
I mean, it's timing, it's discernment. You might need to be by yourself for a little bit more and run it up. But how will you build a controlled legacy, an intentional legacy by yourself?
What about the scared of divorce part?
Also, just in motivation to that is, I went through diverticulitis out of nowhere. I was super healthy and caught a hole in my intestine and was down. And that's when my wife early when we got married. But you could be doing well, but who gonna take care of you when you got a poop bag?
That's a fact.
Right? Ooh. The girl you just met 3 weeks ago at the club, or the one you flew out, or the one that you bought the bags, or all of that. When you got poop coming out your stomach daily, she gonna come wipe it for you? Like, so, we fear divorce, which you can't let the unknown control you. That's why you gotta do good due diligence. It's like a business deal, right? Like you could fear a breakup of a business or failure of a business. That's why you do due diligence, right? So you go through the court and you go through premarital counseling, you go through the dating, you get to know her family, you go through that process. Don't do it off of lust, and for that matter, don't even do it off of lust and or just love. Do it also have lust there, certainly have love there, but also do it for legacy.
And you know what I would say? Let me add to that, man, too, because if you just look at the language he actually put in here, like the language is very important. He put here like relationships can be a distraction, whether the relationship is good or bad. And we talked about this a little bit on the last show, because if you truly adopt that as your belief system about what a relationship is, it's a distraction. You're right.
It'll be a distraction.
It is going to be a distraction for you. Like you believe that is what you adopted as your reality. And unfortunately, it's like the same thing we talked about this. If you believe that it's going to be way too hard to get rich, you're going to stay broke. Like your belief system has a lot to do with what you're going to be able to create. And unfortunately, we have all been tricked by the algorithm, because we all seeing that. We seeing people struggling in their relationships, people being distracted, people losing their wealth.
That's why I feel in the spirit, all three of us came, right? You don't see this. You don't see three Black men talking about marriage in a positive way and still keeping it real, right? We look at social media. We're not all three of us are on social media, but the average married man is not on social media posting that much. He's happy in his house, but you don't see it, right? He at home eating cherry pie right now, right? So you don't see it. So all you see is single men, right? On social media. It makes you seem like perception is reality. But the real reality is that most men marry. The older they get, the more men are going to marry. One, because when you get sick, just part of survival. Two, and I don't think we stated this. Our wives help us to be the man that we are.
Yeah.
When you hear a man get an award, I want to thank my wife. That's not just on GP. There's truth to that, right? I'm not the man that I could be without my wife, right? How my wife ran my household, our household during COVID was beautiful. Managing 3 kids, still working, making sure that they had the standards, still looking sexy for us, still out there making money, still, let's keep it real, talking to my parents, making sure they're good, talking to her parents,
right,
keeping up with aunt, telling me to call my godchildren. Hey, you call your god? Oh, I haven't. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Keep me on point. That's a lot that a single brother does not have. Right. So we look at Michelle and Barack. People weren't feeling Barack Obama in Iowa. they were feeling Michelle. Michelle was a secret weapon. And if we all keep it real, there's rooms we get in because of our wives.
Facts.
Right?
Wow.
There are times in which we're talking about ego, forget whatever we have. There are times I'm just Mecca's husband. They don't even know my name. Oh, you Mecca's husband. I was at Essence. They were like, oh, let's go see Mecca's man. I said, my name is Alduan. My name is not Mecca's man, right? So our wives help us out. So the divorce piece, I feel that because there are a lot of men that are afraid of that. I think one, like Jay said, you have to vet. I think premarital counseling is the next step. So instead of saying, I don't want to get in a relationship, let me get into premarital counseling or even pre-engagement counseling we're doing right now.
Yeah, for
So we
sure.
walk you through a 21-page report, all right, where you start talking about where you align. How do you feel about your parents? Do they live with you when they get sick or do they not? All right, how do you feel about initiating sex? How do you feel about variety in a marriage? What does that mean to you? Long as the couple is on the same page, that's where a lot of people haven't seen is that couples come together and they can talk about these things in advance. And I think you have to find someone who wants to be great at marriage.
Yeah. You know, I want to add to that pre-engagement piece is really important. So anyone watching this, I really want to give this to y'all. See, if you go through premarital counseling while you're engaged, it's much harder to call it off. Right? If you find something in premarital counseling that's like a unevenly yokedness, a disalignment, but you already got invitations and save the dates out, and you already got the venue booked or deposits on flowers, it's much harder to call it off. Even if you find something that doesn't align, or just to even delay it. Not even say we're not getting married, but just not getting married yet. We still got work to do. So I think it's very, very critical to, before you even get engaged and even make that commitment, that you know the person very, very intimately. So you know that it's kind of green lights as you go into premarital. And now you're just going a little level deeper. But a lot of times we don't really be knowing who is we get engaged to at that level. And then you feel so committed. And if you got social media presence or family, you don't want to be embarrassed. We went through that. We're like, doing our marital counseling, like things was coming out where we wasn't really.
We've been there too.
Was like, well, you think that?
But at that point, the deposits are already made. Like, look.
But I think he made a great point when he said, no, don't get with anybody who says, I just want to get married. Say, I want to be a great spouse.
Yeah.
Like, make sure the person.
Better than I did, brother.
And then when they say that, like, if you ask somebody, okay, what type of, because I want to make the husband Hall of Fame. So when a person says that she wants to make the wife Hall of Fame, what does that look like for you? And if and it's okay for her to say, I don't know, tell her, go back and think about it, come back and tell me, right? Because that's very important for me, right? And so for me, it's like I wanted to make the husband Hall of Fame. So I studied the local ghosts. I use the same thing for hooping. Who's a triple OG in the hood that's the one person that's married? You know how it is in the black community. There's not a lot of dudes. There's one. Then let me find somebody, husband who wrote books, husband who got on YouTube. Then I like met E.T. Then I met Jim and said, what do y'all do? Okay, well, y'all got a little marriage report card. How often you get a marriage report card? Okay, you do this with your wife? How you do this? So I'm, okay, put 3 spiritual women around my wife. So I was in Bermuda. I put 3 spiritual women. Okay, you come by the house this time. When this situation, you come by the house this time. You come by the house, and I'll just leave. I got to go somewhere, right? So I got to cover my wife with just powerful women. Like, just because I'm like, I got to make the husband Hall of Fame. So whatever she's on, like, she's like, no, I got to be the greatest wife that ever came in my family legacy. And I'm going, and I got the difference today is I got the information to be the GOAT as a wife.
I've actually never heard a woman say that before. That's like one of the sexiest things.
I
might hear her say.
Hold on. You know you're disrespecting women right now. There are women out there who are amazing wives that are pissed that they can't find a husband.
Wow.
Like that dude, like they look at a dude. That dude right there would be here if he were with me. There are women out there who are diamond makers, and we each can recognize it. So we're doing an interview with like 3 or 4 women. Each one of us would convene, and we say, yeah, that's a wife. That's a wife. No. And it wouldn't take very long. Yeah. There are women out there that can be able to mold and build a man. That whole Genesis 2:18 is not good for man to be alone, so I will create for him a helpmate. You see what I'm saying? She's built to help us. Our wife can feel what's going on. Our wife has plans. Our wife can even, what our wives do is that they'll calculate how we're going to respond. Like, hey, babe, I know at this next turn, you're going to go left or right. I was going to go right. She was like, yeah, you could go right, but you think you should go left? Right?
Yeah.
They're already anticipating. Hey, babe, you thought about life insurance? No, I ain't worried about that. All right, well, I already promised the guy to come over. It's too late for me to cancel. I'm sorry. Knowing that we need to have that presentation. Wives are already thinking in 3 steps ahead.
A lot of intuition.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Tartt, I want to stick with you real quick. Guys, listen, I'm getting ready. We already kept these guys over. They got to go home to these beautiful wives they talking about.
No, I need some salmon at this 10 minutes. I'm going to just close it down to members only in the chat because, guys, I'm going to give you a chance to shoot over whatever questions that you got for these guys. So go ahead. I just shut it down. Members only's in the chat, so I can specifically give a shout out to the members to get all of this goodness these guys got. Now, I wanted to ask you real quick, Dr. Tartt, because I want to pick on KN, one of our members, real quick, because she says, I don't know that I really want marriage right now, though. I'd have to meet a super amazing man. So this is the thing. I hear a lot of women say that. They like, hey, I'm not looking, but if I find one, hey, I'm not sure, but if I find one, is that the right mindset, Dr. Tartt, that a woman should have if she truly desires a strong man?
Make that face again. Make that face again.
I think she's trying to cover, right? Because who wants to look like they're looking and not be covered and not be chosen? So I think part of that is cover. Just like a man, you hurt, I'm straight, man, I don't care, right? And then we'd be messed up, right? So I think part of that is women are very sensitive to not looking like they're looking. She says she's open to super amazing man. So I think what she's afraid of is, does she settle? You see what I'm saying? Do I just get married to guys I like, but I know I don't like them? I mean, the guys that like me, but I don't like them back like that? Or do I wait for this mythical figure? All right, are all those men gone? And what I would say to her, in the spirit, is that you need to get out, because each one of us would tell you where you can go be around single men. Women need to be in the minority. All right, women go and do things that guys wouldn't do. If you want to go find a guy right now, go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting. It's gonna be guys there. If you want to go find a guy, go to a top end gym. Now go to the Forum, go to Universal. Don't go to no Planet Fitness. And I remember Planet Fitness. So I'm not. I want to go in there and get on machines. I want to go to Planet Fitness and get on machines. They ain't serious. I be serious so I can get in my reps, right? LA Fitness, they be doing too much. But the Universal, the Forum,
Lifetime.
You start Lifetime. If you start going to places where men frequent, really quickly in like 20 seconds, my friend invited me out to a political fundraiser. All right. I only went because I had said no so many times I felt like I was going to lose a friendship. Right. So I'm going, fam, I'm going to come support you. I don't care. Right. I went. It was like 60 dudes. And these dudes had some bread. I was like, okay, this is a good networking event. Right. It was maybe 7 to 10 women. Do you know each one of those 10 women talked to 3 guys? Guys were waiting to shoot their shot. If women put themselves in a minority where men are, they would see that they have more access to brothers. A lot of the problems, I don't think women know where to go, where they can naturally, organic be flirted with.
And let me ask you this too, because this was something that went out. I want to get your opinion on this, because I saw, a survey or whatever, whoever the hell they be surveying. It went out that it showed that single women are actually happier than women in relationships.
Wow.
I heard you make a statement that said married men are actually happier, right? And then I think it was single men. I want you to kind of address the difference in happiness for both parties.
All right, really, really quickly. All right, so it's a double-edged sword. All right, so what we know is a book called Science of Trust, that if you want to be in a relationship and you're not, this is true of men and women, loneliness takes 10 to 12 years off your life. Right now, the Surgeon General just came out and said we're in a loneliness epidemic that no one's talking about, right?
Wow.
So if you yearn for a relationship and you don't have one, you feel lonely. Now, there's some people that don't yearn for a relationship. They have enough robust friendships. They can go do life and they're happy. Now, if a great guy comes along, that's great. But if not, they have enough friends. Now, the part that women always talk about is that the duty of a wife is rather difficult. All right, let's just keep it a buck. All right. And so wives tend to have less. Married women, life expectancy is actually shorter than single women. All right. And that's because of the duties. And a lot of women, I think we've all had talked to our wives about putting themselves first and not putting themselves last. Right. So not getting their nails done. Well, in case of my house. All right. I'm just,
self-care.
Right. Self, right. That's the word. I'm like, that's a lot of damn self-care. Right? But I like it though. But at the same time, I be tripping. Like, you out with me and your nails don't look right. That's a reflection on me. You wear the same dress. That's a reflection on me.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm hypocritical like that. All right. Yeah. All right. So. But
at least you know yourself.
Right, yeah.
Right, you're self-aware.
But at the same time, you know, I think you get delirious up in this piece. So I think what day of the week is it? What day of the week is it? All right, but I think you get my point. So the key is that we have to convince married women to actually put themselves first. So that's part of the study that is accurate, to be able to open up and communicate to your husband about what you need. They call it chore play. Happiest after children, after children, marital satisfaction goes down for almost everyone initially because it's just more on the family. It's just harder.
Yeah.
Right. And the more children you add, marital satisfaction goes down. The only case where that's not the case is in families where the chores are evenly divided. And I don't mean like bit by bit, but that means like we're actually realize that raising house is too difficult for one person. And so we are partnering on the chores. And if you're lucky enough or blessed enough being able to get like grandparents, maids, chef services, drivers, nannies, tutors to be able to do it. So that's the piece that married women have to be able to do, is not take on too much for the family.
So we got another question. I want this to be for you, Jay. We got another question. We got about 2 more. I know y'all got 10 minutes in.
Don't worry, we're about to get it. We're about to get out of here.
10 minutes.
Plus 25.
So we just hit 600 people.
If it's a parking, if it's the park, we be rich.
Listen, the chat is going crazy. We got 600 people. Shout out to Subtle TV. Shout out to Wifey. She says teamwork makes the dream work. We got a question from, shout out to KN too. She sent over a super chat. Great suggestions of places to go to find someone. But yes, I'm definitely in my happy place right now and feel like I give so much in a relationship. So shout out to UK. And real quick from Clarity. Clarity says, this is a great question. This for you, Jay.
Talk to me, Clarity.
What are those, you mentioned about being able to recognize a wife. Everybody mentioned that. What's recognizing a wife? So Jay, this is specifically for you. What are those wifely characteristics?
Great one. Self-respect is one of the highest on a totem pole to me. How the woman, self-respect comes in so many different ways, but it's how she enters a room, how she talks about herself, how she dresses, right, is another one. Like, you know what I mean? Like in class, how groomed she is, how she eats and takes care of herself, right? Total self-care and self-respect say a lot. Another for me is I probably would say number one is she God-fearing, right? That says a lot. Her relationship with God says a lot about who she is, her character, her fundamentals, her foundation, her being, and it tells what kind of wife she's going to be as well. Because if she's truly a God-fearing wife and truly obedient to the Word of God, then I already know there's certain practices, protocols, standards that we go online on. Because I'm God-fearing, right?
Don't be thotty.
Huh?
You know what I mean? Like, no.
Yeah, don't be thotty. Like,
don't be all outside on Instagram like that, bro. That's like
that is so sexy.
But right. that's confusing because you think we want that, but we really don't.
That's true.
Yeah, and just overexposed. It's like if you're just overexposed, it's like you're for everybody. Like a woman that is self-contained and self-respected in a way where you can see she's for someone and not for everybody. If you're a woman that's screaming out in your just loudness, your vulgarity, your just your posture, your demeanor, your dress, and everything else that you just for everybody, you're not really showing that you for somebody.
Man.
So that's
I'm actually dating a young.
I want to say this real quick because I'll regret it later. That's why I loved up my wife. My wife, when I met her, had a concierge company, and she was working with like 36 NFL players. She worked with Floyd Mayweather, Kevin Hart. She worked with Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace, our brother. Roddy White from Atlanta Falcons, Pro Bowlers, all that. But nobody smashed. And she had boundaries for everyone in regards to, she taught everybody how to treat her. And so she showed me instantly that even when I had dropped her off one time, she had a condo in Buckhead. I had a condo in Midtown. when I first met her. And so we went on a little date, and I dropped her off at the condo, and she walked across the street, and I peeled off. And she called me. I got like a block down the road. Don't you ever drop me off, and I'll make sure I get all the way into the house before you leave. And I knew she was right, so I didn't even argue. I could have been on my arrogant, ego, prideful stuff, but I know she's right. I didn't even see her all the way into, let alone get out the car, walk her to the house. But if I'm gonna drop you off, I'm gonna at least watch you walk through the doors before I peel off. So she showed me she had a level of standards and self-respect. So I said, that's the kind of woman that I want to teach my kids principles and values, especially I had 2 daughters at the time. I want her to be able to be a bonus mom to my 2 daughters.
Right.
And show them how a woman sets standards and values and boundaries for themselves. Yeah. So
my wife told me straight up, you'll never curse at me. I have rules. My wife told me I don't like it. It's certain things I can tolerate, no cursing. And I'm not saying that, that's cool for everyone else, but my wife, that was one of her rules. Right. And so when she said that, I actually raised my standard. Because I was like, if I get mad, I might let one fly. You see what I'm saying? All right. But my wife says, no, that's a deal breaker for me. I'm just letting you know.
Up front.
My dad told me any man that curses you, you don't need to be with. And I stand on that. So if you can't find another way to say that, just don't say it. I actually respected that.
Much respect.
So when women set standards for us as men, if we're interested, we want to actually reach that because that's the standard we want our daughters to have. That's the standard. That's how I want our sons to move with his wife. So go ahead, Tasha. You tell us about your love life. We're very interested in this.
It's kind of like this, though.
I don't want to know.
But no, it's really, I think standards are a real point to hammer home on. So, like, when I watch you call I don't use the B and the N word, but when I watch you call yourself, I don't know what the best way to say it.
A B with your friends.
Cool. Yeah. Right. If you accept that, you respond to that, right? Or you let another do. That's a bad B right there, or that's my B right there. No. Like even like celebrities we know when they call their wives B's and all of that, and they raps and they songs, and all of that. That's just weird to me. Like that's how our culture got that you could say, "Oh, that's my beautiful B." Like it's just a devalue of standards that we go by. But if you're a single woman and you're trying to catch a quality man, if you're putting out the bat signal in the bait that I'm a bad B, my friends call me B, and this dude could call me B, and I posted on my Instagram, right? It's like, how do your chances of catching a quality man or a quality man resonating with that is going to be lower.
Diminished.
You're going to get what you get.
Yeah. That's facts. And listen, let me tell y'all dropping so much game. I hope that answered your question right there.
Yes.
About those standards and those qualities. And
can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Can we ask one more question? Last one?
The one you showed me, right?
Yeah.
I got it. We're going to ask it. And actually, this is actually a perfect segue. So I'm going to answer your question as well. Because I actually...
Tough one.
Open up, brother.
Yeah. So I'm actually dating a young lady pretty seriously. And initially, we was kind of going back and forth on social media for a while. But I knew she was beautiful, but I never took it serious. Because based on her social media, a lot of you not for like 6 months straight, I just knew the woman was married. Like I knew she was married. Like when you look at how it looks, it just looks like this is such conservativeness. All you see is a pretty face. And like I had to work, when you like really scrolling, like, is there an ass? I'm like trying to find. I'm like,
what's going on?
I can't tell.
No.
I know it's a really nice face. And I found one, I was like, okay, oh my God, this is crazy.
But you had to search for the body.
But and this was, and I didn't even search until after I realized there was interest there. Like the search didn't even happen until 6 months because I ain't searching nobody married wife. I literally thought that. But when I found that out, I was like, whoa, she's available. And she looked like this. I am interested.
Standards.
Now check this out. Got a question in here. We're gonna close out on this one. Coach Crump, I want this one for you. She says, listen, Tabitha Keys, big shout out to you.
Shout out to
when
Tab.
I'm out, a lot of men assume that I am married, so they don't approach me. What can I do?
Well, first of all, that's a good thing. I think, in the sense of them thinking that you've already married. Obviously, you carry yourself a certain way. You ain't got no rings on those certain fingers. I mean, just making sure.
She said she's not wearing the ring. She said she's not wearing the ring. Somebody asked that she's not wearing the rings.
Okay. I don't know that I'm kind of stooped a little bit, man. Like, you know, but outside of her initiating conversation with people to let her know that she's available, like, is she standoffish in conversation or standoff in social settings? Like, because that kind of says, like, if we get a look,
I'm about to say the look.
I was about to
It's the
say,
look.
there it is.
It's only the look.
There it is.
Work on your look.
and you go, you know what I'm saying? Like, you do the look and you just, but you do the look and you look, and then we look, like, oh, look, okay. Then that mean we can have a conversation. But if it's drive-by ministry, double take ministry, then it's like, that must mean you seem respectful, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna be respectful and not approach you.
Yeah.
So it's like when a guy gives you the look, you want to entertain him, give him the look back.
I don't think we get the look enough.
Okay.
That is so true.
I was walking into the office and a woman said, "You wearing that suit?" I said, "Thank you." I live about 2 weeks that I ain't got a compliment other than my wife. Like do people see me? Am I still Albie Shore up in this piece?
Yeah, let that button loose at the top.
Married right
now. But I'm telling you, if women were more like what they think, I think they're resting. Let me stay away from that. But
the resting face.
The resting face.
Yeah.
All right.
The RBF. It's called the RBF.
No, I ain't gonna say that. I'm with Jay. I don't use that word either. You know. So I think that what they think is neutral, what they think is approachable, is really just neutral or negative.
Yeah.
Like they just smile at a man to give us the invitation. She just smile, or even give a compliment. Like, hey, I like that chain. Okay, I see you style. You know. Hey, how you doing, brother? If it just was some enthusiasm, brothers would talk. But we've been trained sexual harassment. Don't mess with women.
It's so many rules and laws, even online now. Like they gotta literally kind of give some type of, like, it's different. Unfortunately, you gotta kind of, because we kind of always interested. It's just like you gotta let us know what the boundaries are,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You gotta like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. You know what I mean? But if it's like, if I'm interested, like, show that you're interested, not just show that you don't have a ring.
I won't say this for our sisters. 2 things you gotta do. That's it. 2 things you gotta do.
Let's hear it, Jay.
The look is imperative, right?
What's the look, by the way, Jay? What's the look?
Is a bright-eyed, slight gaze, but not long gaze.
Yeah.
But it's your spirit, your soul, just saying like, yo, I see you, right? I'm open, right? That look and one compliment. It's all you need. One compliment, sneaker, hair, waves, whatever. One compliment, but don't over compliment, because then you're gonna be thirsty and then
right.
That's true. Right. So you can't go over compliment and be thirsty and chasing. So what happens is, because our women don't have that skill set, or maybe we're not being assertive or whatever it may be, they end up dressing a certain way to get our attention. But when you dress a certain way to get our attention, we only have attention for what we see. Right. So attention is not based on your standard now, or conversation is based off something provocative that you wore, and I'm thinking with the wrong head. So it's really just a look and a compliment on someone. It could be at that political event, it could be at the church event, it could be at the whatever. But just you stopping to give a man some specific attention or focus, or something you noticed, especially something that's minute or just around his swag and his aura. Just that and a look will tell any man that got a little bit of dating sense
that you
and linger. Look, compliment and just linger a little.
And honestly, let me add to that too, because I think a lot of ladies, and I've noticed this just in general, out of protection for themselves, they've trained themselves not to make eye contact with men. Like they've trained themselves to either look down or look away.
Or no, look at the phone.
Look at the phone.
I think you're off limits then.
And see, that's, ladies, the eye contact is permission. Like
that might be enough, right there.
It's the eye contact is permission to engage for that brother. So you have to get comfortable starting to have eye contact, and don't let you have some eye contact and throw a little smile in there
and a head nod, just like that. Little head nod.
You throw a smile in there. That brother better walk up to you right now. He ain't the one.
Right. If she fast walk a little bit, she walk a little faster.
Listen, or you give him a little, like you talk to him, give like touch on the back of the hand, a little, just you know what I'm saying? We are talking, little body language, little touch.
The little touch that you know what got me was when a woman low key insulted me. It was good game.
I can tell you got some toxic. You got some toxic shit.
No, they did not. We sit in the bar,
and he's like, professionally, I'm clean, but probably I'm nasty.
He like ratchet girls and insults. I I see what's going on here.
I'm
dirty to me. He was like, talk
being
about-
church.
I'm very sophisticated on the podcast.
No, know your scriptures, but keep it popping, right? That's every man, right? With the librarian and the dancer. But anyway, maybe that's just me. But I was at the bar. This is in DC, right? I don't know about y'all, but I noticed in DC and in Detroit, women are more aggressive. All right, especially Detroit. Women make the first move in Detroit, right? So sitting at the bar, all right, sitting there, and she says, "You dress nice. I don't know if I would have chosen that tie though." I was like, "What's wrong with my tie?" She was like, "If you like it, I love it. I probably wouldn't have chosen."
Conversation.
She got game.
Confidence. And I was like, "What, you a stylist or something?" She was like, "You know, I wasn't trying to offend you. I wasn't trying to do anything. I was just saying I would have gone with a different color." So I was like, "All right, what color?" Right? You got young men now. What color? I said, this is what you do. You sit at the bar and insult random dudes. Is this what you get off on? She was like, "Look, I didn't mean to offend you. Just carry on." I was like, nah. So what I'm saying, I was attracted to her confidence. Now she was playing. That fit her personality. She was playing, but the fact that she had so much confidence and she was not checking for me, and that I didn't have the power, you know, like I'm used to. I wanted to get it back, right? So I think there are things that women can do, but it has to fit your personality. I think a lot of times when women act like they're not interested, but enough, like keep shooting your shot, right? Keep shooting, keep working. I'll share this really quickly. When I was dating my wife, oh man, I had this show. It never saw the light of day. I had this show on BET. Roger Bob was the producer. It was the Mom, Myself, and I show, right? It was starring Tashina Arnold, Garcelle Bouvet, and me. I was a cheap talent, all right? Yeah. So I had the show, BET, red carpet, everything. This is the second date for my wife. I was like, oh, I know she could be feeling me on the man. She thinks this is how I roll on the regular, right? In my mind, right? We got home. I went in for the kiss. She did one of these. I was like, do you know how many women would want to be on the red carpet? All right, I know Jay gonna laugh. I was sitting next to Chopper, right? We sitting next to Chopper, right? I'm the man, right? I don't limo coming. I got stylists at the house. I'm thinking you look. She moves away, and so I got mad. I started getting my feelings, and so she walked to the car. I said, "Look, I'm not trying to game you anything. If you don't like me, just say it. I can handle it. If you don't like me, just say it. I can take it. All right. But I don't want you to just go out with me for have a good time and do all this kind of stuff. Just say you don't like me. I can handle it."
Oh, you broke down.
Right. Hey, emotion, right? I wasn't crying. I ain't cry though. Right. She said, I said, let me know. You know, I told you I thought she was the one on the first date. All right. And so, you know, guys have history too. Oh, this is what it is. Okay. Just say it. Just say the word. Right. And she was like, it's not like that. She says, I'm like a flower. It take me time to open up to any guy. Yeah, tonight was cool, but can you keep it up? There's a lot of guys that come on strong, but for me, I just don't open up until a guy has my heart. I said, I bet. You know what she told me? Same thing as Jay. Other guys ain't run up in you. If I didn't take you to the BET Award in the first row, and I can't even get a kiss, all right? I know other guys. So the standard was there. That made me want to pursue her even more. I had to pursue her like a wife. So anyway.
Damn.
That was a good. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one.
That's how we going out tonight, Sean.
Shout out to Subtle TV. Yo, Subtle TV, listen, you need to stop playing and just join the membership. Because she's sending over her second super chat for the night.
Do we not go yet
She
tonight?
says, we don't speak because we are taught that's thirsty. So, guys,
how you speak?
We did not hit the membership goal.
No. We're not getting out. Yo,
no,
come
listen,
Yeah, we
guys.
hit the membership goal.
Y'all see what's happening.
They tried.
Y'all see what we doing. Y'all see the level of game we bringing, and it's not going to stop. So I need how many members we need?
We need about 6 more.
I need 6 members right now to go ahead and pop it off and join. If you already a member, get somebody else a membership.
We're not eating.
Because I probably
Listen,
we fasting up in this piece, boy.
Hey, listen, I tell you that these guys are entrees for the fellas. It's different with the ladies in here. They got like shrimp
Oh, really?
Oh, they have a whole platter of females.
Oh,
I
okay. So we have to raise our demand.
I was here on accident one time.
When we get our membership goals, the next time y'all come, we gotta make sure we get the membership goals.
Right.
I'm telling y'all, but nah, this was good.
6 of y'all, come on, hurry up.
Absolutely.
Yes, let's get it. Let's get. I mean, because I don't really think everybody understand the how difficult it is to get some gentlemen like y'all all at the same time. You talk about we going live, we got schedule issues. These guys is booked and busy. So please support the channel. And members, I want y'all to go ahead and peer pressure. Go ahead, tell them to join the channel. So if you're a member, I just want you to type join the channel in the chat right now.
And let me say something to you guys too, in the sense of, I'm big on like who I put my time with, and Ryan and Tyshawn are incredible men. And for our culture, like for young men who are not married, who don't have children, who out here, like who's really not just trying, but trying to put other people on game and surrounding themselves in these spaces. Like, it's an important culture that we celebrate men like that. Like, if you ain't even on, like, hey, this is my first time, or I don't know what's going on, let me tell you what's going on. These men are actually really trying to do something powerful together to give value to our community, to bring our community together, starting with the men, right? And on the principle, sometimes you got to do stuff on the strength. Like on the principle, support these brothers, man.
Hey, listen, you're right about that. It does start with the men. I appreciate the ladies for tapping in, but we want our men to be great. We want the ladies to, and listen, I want them Hall of Fame husband and Hall of Fame wives. That's like, we need to get that on a shirt right there. I like that one. I'm a Hall of Fame wife. I like that. I want to see somebody rocking that. Big shout out to Subtle. Just join
and
the
real
family.
Quick, this is the last announcement, guys. Tyshawn and I have been talking about this. One of the things that we want to do, probably going to talk to Coach Crump and Jay after this, actually, or at least coming up within the next week. One of the things that we really want to do is put on a conference. It's very important to us that we promote healthy relationships, guys. And we're bringing on some of the top, the 1%. That's really what we're doing. We're bringing on the 1%ers. We're bringing on the people who are actually successful at having these long-term relationships and marriages. So, guys, that's what I want you to do. Shout out to who just did it. Somebody just give shout out to Janelle for just gifting the Harley Initiated membership. I'm going to drop a link. This is our email list, guys. I want you to go ahead and join our email list. Don't worry about what the link actually says. Just push it because it says something inaccurate in there. But go ahead and put your name, your phone number, and your email in there, because as we gear up to throw this conference and put these things on together, we're going to need you guys' feedback, because we want to do it the right way, and we want to have the people that you want, and we want to make sure that we touch on the conversations and the topics that you guys want. So I went ahead and dropped that link in there. Make sure you go ahead and give us your email addresses. We need those to communicate with you guys.
Awesome sauce.
Yes. Y'all listen, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank y'all, brothers, so much for coming up here and pulling up on us last minute, man. Some real brothers here, some real kings at the table. I know the people listen, if you're watching this on the pre-record, you better make sure you're here live every Monday and Wednesday. We will not stop at 8 p.m. sharp. We are on time. No CP time is popping off.
We on time now.
At 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Love y'all too, Kings.
And listen, y'all too. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Hardly Initiated. We are out. Yeah.
Let's eat. Good job, Lano.
Let's get
I know. Look.